blah 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 blah.
Hello everybody and welcome to I'll Tell You What TV's F1 podcast, where we're going to be talking about the Baku Grand Prix. And don't worry folks, you haven't gone fucking mental. It is a Wednesday. We're usually on a Tuesday, but I had a few problems yesterday. James had no internet until today, so we decided we wouldn't do it last night and we'd do a bit of a show this evening. So Steve, James, how are you both today?
Not too bad. So can I just say though, Dave, you say you had problems yesterday, but you've had problems all your life. What are you on about?
Well, okay.
You've always had problems.
That is an understatement. I've had problems since before I was born because you were born before me.
Yep, that's the one big problem.
Yeah. No, that's not true. Love him, really. James, what about yourself? You well?
I'm alright. Keep getting random likes and tweets from fake accounts with these women that are just like bonkers.
I've got some music playing on an advert.
Never get the line again.
Sorry. I just clicked on one of the web pages I've got open ready to talk about stuff today, and it started playing some kind of advert. So sorry, James, go on. What were you saying?
All I'm going to say was I keep getting these random on me Racing League Twitter page.
Yeah.
I keep getting random women that are not real women, like liking tweets, and I'll send you a couple of images of like
what their faces.
They're not real. They can't
You have
be
to
real.
ask. You have to ask them whether they use an omnibud or not.
Right, get this right, James. We've got a friend of ours. You may remember.
James, I want to know if James knows what one is.
Yeah, James. Do you know what an omnibud is?
I thought it's not an ombudsman, is it?
No. No. Right, okay. Just a quick warning, everybody. The language may get a bit crude, rude, and there may be some swearing during this podcast.
This is an F1 podcast,
Honest, but well, I can tie it into Formula One because somebody in the sim racing league that I'm racing in has just been officially sponsored by YouPorn.
Oh.
Yeah. And apparently YouPorn are actually very big on the esports gaming series, you know. Because when you think about it, for a porn website, who's their target audience?
Gamers.
Yeah.
Young men. Young women.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
so
if I'll send you some of these pictures.
well, you can send the pictures. And I'll tell you this little story that happened last week. We've got a friend of ours called My Badger. You might have remembered him from when we were racing together ages ago. I think it's his nephew. Has also been gaming with us for a few years. And unfortunately had to sell his PlayStation for a while. He's managed to get another PlayStation. And he was online with us last week. And he turned around to me and Steve and says, "Hey guys, I've got something to tell you about." I'm like, "Oh yeah, what's that then?" I said, "Well, I was with me mate and he showed me this free website that you can go on where there's cam girls, and they've basically got a sex toy where viewers can pay them money and make the sex toy vibrate." And he's going on about it like it's a brand new thing, and we're like, "Yeah, it's called an omnibud, mate. It ain't nothing new." But anyway, there you go. So we are an F1 podcast, but James has brought up fake accounts. But the thing is, you know, James, the fake Twitter accounts, it's the same for dating sites, right? You get fake people on dating sites, and I don't just mean Catfish. I mean people that are just there to get you onto.
Can I just put a disclaimer in?
Go on,
Claire, if you're listening, I didn't know anything about omnibuds until Dave told me.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Honest.
Anyway, I thought I'd just got a message off Claire then saying, is he like, "Oh, hello."
Yeah, see what I mean? They're not real. They cannot like me. Tell you that.
No. Well, the thing is, what you have to do is go, "She's gorgeous. It's a fake profile. The person in the picture is real, but the profile is fake."
Third one down.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen her before somewhere. With a little pink thing hanging out.
They'll be professional models. They'll be just taking.
No, there'll be cam girls wanting you to pay them.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Come and talk to me on this website.
Yeah, you only need your credit card.
Yeah, and to be thick as fuck.
Okay then.
Where do I pay?
I had one on a dating site a few years ago, and she sent me a picture, and she sent me 2 pictures. And I says, okay, couple of things here. One, you're wearing a black top in the first picture and a white top in the second picture. She goes, oh, well, I've just got changed. I said, well, okay, fine, but who's the guy that's holding the camera whose reflection you can see in the mirror? There's nobody with me. I says, well, you need to look at your pictures then, don't you? Anyway, okay, so we have got a few things to... obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about the Baku Grand Prix this weekend. I'm in 2 minds, you know. I mentioned I've had some stuff going on yesterday. Steve and James know what's been going on. I'm in 2 minds whether to talk about it on the podcast or not, because it's kind of like a bit of a potential life-changing situation, and not in a good way.
You might want to just get it off your chest.
Maybe, but at the same time, I don't want to say something that could later incriminate me in court.
Yeah. We heard your podcast. Yeah, you heard our podcast. Yeah. And we heard, oh shit.
So got a lot going on. So I'm not overly with it, and I know there's a Grand Prix race coming up at Baku this weekend, and we will talk about that a little bit. But I do just want to give James the opportunity to talk about anything that he wasn't able to talk about on the last podcast because of having no internet. Obviously, you're only with us a short time. So James, is there anything from China that you didn't get to talk about that you want to discuss?
Well, I still haven't even been able to catch up on last week's stuff that you may have talked about after Steve very politely gave me some money so that I could chat for a bit, so I'll be sending you some money. But yeah, I don't really know what you spoke about afterwards, but I think the one thing for me were Kevin Magnussen getting a bit pissed with Grosjean.
I can't remember.
Did we talk about that? I think he was saying,
because Grosjean
get him out of the way.
Yeah, what's he doing trying to turn in on me and shit?
Yeah.
And
I think we might have slightly mentioned it, but we didn't really get in depth.
It was an interesting one because Grosjean was pissed, saying, well, hang on, it's only like fucking 6. But the tyres they were on kind of dictated they should have done it. I have just remembered something that we talked about, and that was, do you have any idea how Danny Ricciardo got his fat lip that he mentioned about on the podium?
I wouldn't be surprised if some bird slapped him.
We was wondering whether he banged his face on his crash helmet trying to get it on quickly, or whether he hit his face on Halo or something. But no, what did you actually find out, Dave?
No. You don't want to Google Danny Fat Lip. You find out about Omnibuds. No, so annoyingly, I threw away my list of notes earlier today. I was having a bit of a tidy up, so I can't really go over too much. But I mean, it was. I know one thing. Were you there when I mentioned about Vettel complaining? Yeah, you were there about complaining that it was safety car affected when he'd won one.
We were saying pot calling kettle black. But well, it's not new, is it, for Vettel to be complaining about anything?
No.
But Bottas, I think if he don't really... I mean, obviously, he couldn't really do anything about Danny Ricciardo, but I'd have probably made my Mercedes as white. I'd have probably gone straight over to the right-hand side and blocked off any potential move down the inside, which would have really compromised you on the exit anyway. But you've got to make it harder. I mean, you give Danny Ricciardo a car's width, he's going to take it.
Yeah.
But if Lewis Hamilton can't keep him behind him, then Bottas has got no chance.
Yeah, I kind of see what you say, but I just don't understand why all the teams just thought, oh, it'll be all right sticking him out there. I mean, the pace advantage that the Ferrari and Mercs had, even over the Red Bulls, was, I think, by up till that point, Lewis Hamilton were having a bit of a shit day, to be fair, and even he were keeping Red Bulls behind him. So what I don't understand is, even if they know, let's say for example, safety cars come out, they're like, oh shit, they're going to be behind us. I would rather put on some fresh tyres and be behind them, and know I've got a shit hot car that can blitz them.
Yeah. But they'd have been right at the back because they'd have done another lap behind the safety car. whole lap behind the safety car. That was the main problem. That's why they went for track position. But also they thought that track position and their additional speed would be enough to outpace them.
Even just one of them, I mean, they'd already completely fucked up Vettel's strategy. Not Vettel, Raikkonen's strategy for Vettel. So there were not really to lose with Raikkonen. They could have done that. I mean, I think he did actually pit, didn't he? Did Raikkonen?
Well, he'd not long pitted. Like I was saying, he pitted on lap, or his tyres were 11 laps newer than what the Mercedes tyres were.
Yeah.
So his tyres were already pretty good.
But I mean, if you'd have put Raikkonen on some fresh tyres at the same time as Ricciardo, that should have easily been a slam dunk Ferrari win for Raikkonen.
Were you on the podcast last week? Sorry, I can't remember. Were you on the podcast last week when I asked the question, would Mercedes have been better off saying to Lewis Hamilton, this is after the safety car, would they have been better off saying to Lewis Hamilton, don't fight the Red Bulls, let them go, because if it ends up with a Red Bull 1-2, you actually lose less points to the Ferraris, and I think we worked it out, they would have lost less points, but I'm just wondering if you were in on that part of the conversation.
No, I think I probably had run out of credit at that point.
So do you reckon that's something that you would have perhaps thought of or made a decision on?
Well, I just think, especially for Ferrari and Mercedes, they always go on about track position. Unless you're at Monaco, track position doesn't really mean unless you've got knives on the end of your tyres and it's like, come on then. But I just don't understand why the Ferrari and Mercedes teams are so confident as to go, let's just whack on some new tyres because we've got the pace.
Yeah.
They don't. They go, oh, well, we've got track position, so we'll hold that. And it's like, well, no offence, but the Red Bulls, how far did they qualify back from Vettel on the Saturday? I can remember. Were it about half a second?
It might have been 3/4 of a second.
It wasn't loads, but I mean, I can understand Mercedes thinking, oh, well, we've got track position, would be all right last year. Whereas this year, it's a little bit different. They were probably thinking, well, Ferrari aren't going to beat us on the same tyres. But when you look at it, Raikkonen was harassing Bottas at the end. So Raikkonen's newer tyres was enough of an advantage to put him in position to fight for it. So I think it's fair to say they cocked up on that one. They made a mistake. But there we go. I'll tell you what, we'll move on a little bit towards Baku. But before we do that, I have just remembered, James, I know last week you weren't very well.
What or not?
No.
Oh yeah.
You had a few.
I forgot.
You had a few rear end issues.
Oh yeah, like back end of a Ferrari. I tell
you had a poorly horse.
Oh yeah, I wish I would. I was going to say I wish I were Kevin Magnussen, but I really wish I wasn't. Jesus Christ.
So have you been back to work though?
I've been back to work. Yeah, I went back to work on the Wednesday. Thursday I went back to work last week.
So it's cleared up.
It's cleared up. The doctor did say, "Oh, you can't go back to work this week because you need to have at least 48 hours without no blood when you go to the toilet." And I was like, "Well." In my head, I'm like, what if this goes on for another week?
Yeah.
You know, I've got bills to pay. No offence, love, but tough shit. So, literally. So I came home after the doctors, and I'd not had any in morning. And I thought, well, if there's no in afternoon, sod it, I'm going into work tomorrow because I felt all right. Whereas the Saturday and Sunday, I felt a bit drained, literally. So I went back into work on the Thursday, and I've been touch wood. I've been all right, but yeah, I'm feeling all right. I'm all right. Yeah.
Well,
still haven't heard out back from the doctor though, which is a bit weird.
Did you have to take him in any excrement?
Yeah, that's what I took him in.
Was it like a little doggy bag?
No, it was just like a little tube, but everybody in hospital were right nice. So like, oh yeah, you just drop it in, just go over there. And then I got to the desk where the people that receive all the samples were, and they were literally like, yeah.
You got shit. Like, you got shit in a jar.
I got a sample here for you, and like in the basket. Oh, please! I felt like saying please. But mind you, their job is literally shit.
Yeah, definitely.
What I want to know though, James, is how did you get the sample into the little tub?
Oh right. Well, what I did was the toilet here. I'll send you a pic.
I don't want to see a picture of it. No.
I'm gonna say something now that will make. I'm gonna say something now that's gonna make you think. Why didn't I think about that? Cling film, the Lucy, giving it a bit of a bowl shape.
Yeah. Right. So what I did? Well, this is the toilet I've got. Right. I've just sent you an image, and you can sort of see that where it normally go, you'd normally sat fair back, and it just go straight in there.
So you sat on it the wrong way round.
No. Oh. I didn't straddle it. I sort of like just scooted forward, so my butt cheeks were right on the very edge.
So you were,
like if I'm on edge. I were on edge of my seat.
You were dropping a log on the beach instead of in the sea. Yes,
that's exactly what we're doing. So then I got my little scoop out and trying not to throw up, and got me sample. And but I haven't heard all back. So, but touch wood, I've been alright.
Well, interestingly though, I have been sent some potential evidence of how you ended up with the dodgy arse.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this?
He's thinking, oh no, what's freaking gone and done that?
So I contemplated whether I should share this with you or not, so I thought, fuck it, I'll share it with everybody. So I'm going to show it on the live stream in a moment. But I think this could be very enlightening as to how you've ended up with the dodgy arse that you've had. So I'm going to send you a link to the video, so let me know when you're ready.
It'll be some massive butt plug with my face on it or something. Yeah.
No, if James's internet's not working very well, this could take fucking ages.
No, it's loading. I've seen a pig.
So let me know when you're ready to play. I think this is going to be very good evidence as to how you've ended up with.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Pig, I feel sorry for the poor bugger.
Oh dear. That's brilliant. Man. So at least now we know.
With that music, I was waiting for Steve to come in. Sometimes I wake up grumpy.
Well, the thing is, it's interesting that you mentioned Steve there, because you know how you're a gamer, I'm a gamer, Steve's a gamer. I've also got some video footage of Steve.
Oh God!
Doing some racing. So I'm going to send you a link to that.
I know what this is.
And let me know when you're ready to play.
Is it driving you nuts?
So this is a short video of how Steve does sim racing.
Has he got like a PS4 controller attached to like a plate or something?
You'll have to wait and see. Tell me when you're ready to play and I'll play.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's enjoy. Let's go.
that machine with steam, that's like my ass. God, I wouldn't want to be driven to work by him. Jesus. That's an car on a budget.
I think that's one of those. This is what my parents think I do when I tell them I do sim racing.
I'm just thinking, Dave, that there's something you may have forgotten.
What would that be?
Vicky did send you a picture when James. Do I need to send it you again to remind you?
It wasn't when I was literally getting a finger up my ass, was it? From the doctor.
I thought that was something you'd Googled, Steve.
This is real, is it? Oh God, here we go.
Do I need to send it you again, or have you got it?
I'm not going to show it. I'm not.
Are you not showing it?
I'm not showing it. No, I'm not. I'm not going to show a picture. We had enough of nudity of James last week.
I'll tell you what then. We won't show other people, but I'll share it with James.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God.
Because other people are not going to want to see this.
No, you're not.
Oh, what's going on? I'd just give a shout out to my mate from work. He's listening to us live. He's on his sofa and he's got us, our three faces up on his TV screen.
Yeah, he's not going to want this picture on his screen.
Jeez, yeah, is that a pig or is that my ass? Jesus. That's an animal. That's not a real human. Jesus.
That's you.
Bloody hell.
Oh.
No. I remember she wearing green gloves.
Maybe it's the other picture I got.
Must have been, yeah. That must be the one that you Googled then.
That must be the Googled one. Hang on then.
So,
was it this one, James?
Yeah, well, hang on. My ass. Well, no, that's a woman's ass, isn't it? Well, it's definitely not mine because I've definitely got some hair on it. That looks like a prosthetic. That doesn't look like a human. It's like one of them, them weird people have them like sex dolls.
Oh yeah, the not like an inflatable one, the real sex dolls.
Well, you know what? It's weird. I actually mentioned to Paul the other day to watch a movie called Ex Machina. Have you ever seen it?
Yes.
I haven't.
I have. It's a good film, Dave. You should watch it.
It is a good film. But it's one of them where it really messes with your mind, where you're like, it's a human actress, but at the same time, you're a bit like... And she's like saying to the male guy that's coming to evaluate her, and she's playing a... what they're called, like android. But like from her neck down, she looks like a robot. So there's only like a face that looks human. But it's played by that lass who's playing Lara Croft.
Oh, I've seen the new Lara Croft, and she's stunning.
Yeah,
well,
so
it's her. Yeah.
It's her face, and she's got like a robot body, and like she's obviously programmed to be as human as possible. And then she's like, "Oh, do you think about me when we're not together and stuff like that?" And you're like, "Ooh." You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to do that test. Because your brain is obviously because he's a male and is clearly attracted to her. It's skewing the test, and the test is, can he pass her to be human?
Yeah. Straight
away, I'd be like, useless at that test. But it is one of them proper mind screws of a movie.
Well, here's something for you then. I'm not going to show this on the. What the fuck is that? James is taking off in his spaceship.
What it is I forgot to make Vicky a cup of tea.
Oh.
And she's just told me an hour later, so I'm in doghouse.
No. She's not told you an hour later. She's given you 58 minutes to sort out the problem, and you haven't done it. So she's told you 2 minutes later. Right, talking about the test between humans and robots. I know we're an F1 podcast, and we will get on to F1, but this is what happens. We also talk random shit as well. I was looking on just random stuff on social media and stuff like that, and I saw something And it was, I mean, we talked about China and the Chinese Grand Prix last week, so I'm going to send you this picture. It's nothing to do with F1, but it is to do with China. Now, in China, I'm not going to show the picture on the podcast, but in China, they have debuted a brand new style of zebra crossing. And basically, it's painted on the road in a way that as a driver approaches, it actually looks like there are bollards in the road. So it's a 3D painting. So as you're driving up to it, it makes your mind think, shit, I need to stop. And so people stop and it makes the crosswalk safer. And I actually thought, you know what, that's a brilliant idea. But
apart from if it was me, I'd just slow down a bit, but keep going. What's that idiot doing on the bollard? Bang.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, once you've been across it once,
you'd know. That is true, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. Kind of the difference between robots and humans, and you know how, James, you were talking about fake profiles on Twitter, and you get robots sometimes, right? Well, I decided to have a look at the comments section about this brand new zebra crossing, and I'm going to read you just 4 of people's responses to this, what I thought was a very good idea for a zebra crossing. The first one is, all sex is rape, or all rape is sex. What the fuck has that got to do with anything? The next one, I
think that's some rapist trying to justify what he's doing.
Quite possibly. The next one is, this is how China distracts its people from Harambe. I think that was years ago. Come on, has a zebra crossing got anything to do with a gorilla? The next one, Americans should paint 3D Donald Trumps at the Mexican border to stop illegals in their tracks.
No, they'll just run him over.
and then
I was going to do a Mexican accent and it came out as like Russian fucked it up.
And the final comment was a grammar Nazi saying there, you idiot, because he'd spelt there wrong. But anyway, so yeah.
Just to say on it, I'd seen something similar where I think it was in Holland or somewhere where they were putting massive, great big stickers on the road of potholes, so that it made it look like there was a pothole in front of you. So drivers were slowing down to go over the pothole, and then there's a caption next to it saying, "In England, we don't bother with stickers. We have the real thing."
Not wrong either. Not wrong either. Okay, Formula One. I suppose we should talk Formula One before we do actually get on to Baku. Interestingly, Steve, you sent me a picture earlier that I'm going to show on the podcast now. But I was looking. I did a little bit of research of stuff to show or talk about this evening, and I found a website that started talking about something. I thought, I'll use that tonight, and then realised I think it might be the same thing. So this picture that you wanted to show looks like a cartoon graphic of a Ferrari. Yeah, it's basically
a artist impression of basically a tweak to the rules, which the FIA have basically confirmed that teams are now allowed to mount their wing mirrors on the halo to help them with rear visibility. But it does come not as a cost as such, but they're not allowed to have 2 sets of mirrors. They're only allowed to have the 1 set of mirrors. They still must meet all the regulations, so they must be of a certain size, no smaller than, and also the drivers must still be able to read some symbols that are placed behind the car when testing the mirrors, which I didn't even know they did. So basically, someone stands behind the car and says, "Can you read these symbols?" And the driver has to read the symbols through the mirrors. But I just wanted to know what your 2 thoughts were about these mirrors on the halo. I mean, I don't have a problem with them being there, but will the teams have problems with them being there, or will it be an aerodynamic advantage of them being there?
Of course it will. You know what? Yeah. Well, Ferrari have already made wing mirrors.
Well, this is it. Ferrari's wing mirrors have got their vents in them to force the air into a separate hole on top of the side pods, through a separate hole into the radiators to help the cooling. But I'm wondering whether if Ferrari won't change the mirrors, even though it's a picture of a Ferrari. I'm just wondering if Ferrari won't change them because it'd be more difficult to get the air to flow from the wing mirror down into their holes.
Well, the way I see it, I think the teams will adopt it because if you can make your wing mirrors like Ferraris, which will be aerodynamically efficient, then it just gives them more stability. Whereas at the moment, the wing mirrors are wobbling about. I mean, God, you look at the bloody Haas, it looks like no offence, it's been quite decent this year, but if you watch it on a high-speed straight like in China, by end it straight before the braking zone, everything's wobbling about. You're just thinking at any moment something's going to fly off.
Wasn't it the Haas though that lost a mirror in one of the practice sessions? I think it might
in China, yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Well, it lost the reflective part. I'm going to
you know, you put that picture, the only thing it reminded me of, do you remember back in, I think it was early 90s, all Formula 1 cars started having these weird, like, aerodynamic things just sticking up in air. And it's reminding me of that, and I'm just thinking, yeah, it might be great for teams, and it might be good for visibility, but somebody needs to look at the aesthetics of these cars, and we've said it a billion times, they're looking fucking shit. They look like oh my God.
Excuse you.
check your pants.
I was turning a cup of tea.
Bullshit.
Look, this is it. I'm turning the mug.
Oh,
yeah.
It didn't sound anything
Swear to God.
like that. Go on.
It did. Anyway, yeah, all I can say is the cars are looking more and more shit, and this is just another addition to making them look even more shit.
Well, I've got a few points I want to mention about this, but the main one I'm going to make right now is what happens if a wheel hits that mirror? Where's it going to go?
Mirror might snap off and go for jugular, you know.
Yeah. I mean, considering...
And then they won't be able to get out, they'll be screaming in car, won't be able to get out.
Well, considering that it's a safety device, and you're attaching it to a safety device, you're basically just putting... It's like saying, okay, we've got this brand new ambulance, but it's covered in razor blades. You know what I mean? So...
It's a brand new ambulance, it's state of the art, it's got some amazing equipment on board. We forgot to put the brakes on it though.
Yeah, it's got no brakes. Yeah. So we can get you to the hospital really fast, but you'll probably die when you get there. But I mean, it's a fair point. But what I was I mentioned that I had found a web page, and it mentioned about these, and there is a couple more regulations. So I think that some teams will adopt it. I think some teams won't, like Ferrari. I don't think they will. But I think some teams may adopt it at some races and not others. Now, the reason I say that is because one of the things that the FIA has said is that, that, as Steve mentioned, they're more than happy for teams to try and mount the mirrors on the halo. However, there can be no cables or wiring going to the mirrors. And the reason for that is, for the cables or wiring to go to the mirrors, it means they have to travel along the rest of the halo somewhere. And what the FIA want to be able to do, I want to get the actual statement that was shown. Okay, we will not accept a cable or connectors to run through the halo fairing. Hence, in the rare case when a team is asked to mount cameras in the mirrors, position 1 of 6 of drawing 6 of the technical regulations, that team would have to resort in using a mirror installation on the chassis or side pod. That was one part of it, but the other part is we will not accept sorry, hang on, that's not it. Sorry about this, let me quickly find it. Okay, I can't find it, but basically they were saying that they didn't want any cables as well, because if they have to remove the halo, they don't want the cables to restrict them, and it's the same for the dual mirrors. We will not accept a dual mirror mounting, as this could cause delays in the event a rescue team had to remove the halo following an accident. So that kind of tells me, well, the halo is removable, so if they did decide, you know what, we're going to scrap the halo, they potentially could do it, or the rescue teams have equipment that could cut the halo off.
I know that it is bolted on to the front of the crash structure. I don't know how the rear end is connected on and how easy it would be for them to move.
It's just a pile of shite.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I can understand them talking about moving perhaps having better mirrors, but I can't see. I'm not surprised the discussion has come up to move them to the halo, but I don't see it as being. Do you know what they'd actually be better doing? The middle bit of the right. Okay, if you look at the picture, I don't know if James can see it at the moment, but where you've got the halo, you've got the middle leg or the leg of the halo comes up to a wider section. Put a rear-mounted camera screen there. Driver wants to see what's behind him. Look at the screen.
I was just about to say, why not have? I mean, on the steering wheel, they've got a multi-screen display.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not, when I say multi-screen, it's multifunctional. They could have a button on the steering wheel. They've got enough of them where you press it and it shows you the count. It shows you rear view.
We're trying to get rid of buttons, Steve. Not adding more.
Oh, okay. Have a touch screen where they just touch the screen and it shows them behind them. But to be fair though, the problem I find though with the rear view camera is it disorientates you. You get so used to looking in mirrors and knowing what's happening in mirrors, but when you look in a rear view, even on video gaming, when you press the button that shows you what's happening behind you, it plays with your head about which way you need to steer if you want to block somebody.
Difference there though, in an F1 car, you would still have that peripheral vision of going the same direction.
True.
Yeah, no, there's arse. All I've got to say is I hate the way the F1 cars look currently, and this is just getting worse.
Just to say this while I remember. As I said, all right, this week, James, Dave told me that he tried to do an impression of the horse in front of somebody. What happened, Dave?
You spat on him.
No.
Somebody says he wants to hear it from the horse's mouth, and Dave went.
Right. So I had the thing I had to attend last week. Very important thing, a very official thing. Get in there. The introductions are done. I know I'm not being a little bit vague, listeners, but I don't want to talk too much about it. But basically, it was a very official situation, and there was a person basically being a judge, called a judge. It sounds like I've done something really dodgy, and I haven't.
Yeah, it wasn't Judge Dredd.
No. So anyway, there was somebody there, and he introduced everybody. He says, and I'm going to ask you some questions because I'd like to hear straight from the horse's mouth. Now, in a bit of a stressful situation, my brain went...
Comedy.
Yeah. So I sat there. This is the first thing I've done. I sat there and I went... And then I tried to make the noise of a horse and it didn't work. Sorry.
You should have then gone. Hang on, I'll get it in a minute.
I should have said sorry. That come out the wrong end of the horse.
How did he call you a very intelligent man after that?
I have no idea. That's a good question, actually. I have no idea.
Oh God, brilliant! Oh man.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about how you don't like the look of the F1 cars. We did talk a little bit last week about how the FIA are trying to bring in new rules, change big rules for 2019, and Formula One have announced 3 new rules to be brought into effect next season. But I don't think they're going to be the changes that James is going to want. So let's see. Those changes are that the ballast will be positioned adjacent to a driver's seat, therefore reducing the advantage of smaller, lighter drivers on the circuit. Fuel allowances are set to increase, which should enable drivers to unlock the full potential of their engines. It won't, because the teams will still tell them to turn it down.
Because they'll increase the size of the fuel tank, but the team will nowhere put more fuel in than what they have done.
Say that last one again, Dave.
Fuel allowances are set to increase to 110 kilograms, which should enable drivers to unlock the full potential of their engines.
No, that just means the faster ones will just be still faster.
Yeah. It's not going to make any... The only way... Well...
It'll just make cars faster, and it'll make the Honda blow up quicker.
Yeah, quite possibly. And the last one was the eco-friendly engines. Oh, no, that's saying that the eco-friendly engines will benefit the most from that one. The gloves will feature a stitched sensor embedded in the fabric, which will monitor the amount of oxygen contained in the blood before, during, and after a crash.
Wow. Because that's what every fan wants. Can I just bring a rule change that's come into force immediately? I don't know if you know about this one.
Go on then.
Engine modes that blow the rear wing are not allowed. So basically, teams have got like the normal engine modes, but also they can switch a mode which will blow the rear wing more than other modes, but it will be burning more fuel. But they can't use it throughout the whole race because they haven't got the fuel capacity to do it. But it's the FIA's belief that some teams have got engine modes that are helping them blow the rear wing. Now, from what I've read on the internet, and you can't always trust what you read on the internet, those teams have been Renault, because obviously they've been doing a lot of experimenting with blown rear wings and with all the silver foiling underneath the rear wing.
Ferrari,
and also
but
Ferrari.
only with Vettel's car.
And that's what they think the extra switch is for.
Well, it's not a switch.
Or paddle, whatever.
It's a paddle. See, I was going to mention this. Well, the interesting thing is, right, okay, I saw the story break a couple of days ago about this extra paddle that Vettel has got on the back of his steering wheel. And on that paddle is a rotary switch, right? So he can, a bit like they have on the face of the wheel, but it's attached basically to the paddle. Now, Kimi Raikkonen doesn't have the same paddle in his car, but unless my memory is serving me incorrectly, which is possible, I am pretty sure that the extra paddle on Vettel's car has been previously discussed, right? And it's a driver preference thing. For example, if you look in
whether he wants the rear wing blown or
well,
not.
yeah. Well, you look in Danny Ricciardo's cockpit of his Red Bull, and just next to his left leg is 3 rotary switches, right? Now, what they do, I don't exactly know, but they're in position of brake bias levers, well, where brake bias switches used to be in many cars a few years ago.
The big, great, massive throw switches.
Yeah. Now, what these rotary switches are that Danny Ricciardo has, I don't know. But from what I can remember, Vettel preferred to have a flappy paddle or a paddle on his wheel than have the rotary switch elsewhere. So it could just be a differential switch. It could be doing exactly what you say. I mean, I'd just beg the question, Ferrari wouldn't do something that would break the rules and regulations and accidentally blow exhaust fumes onto their car when they're not supposed to, would they?
Of course, any team would.
You just used the wrong word there. You said accidentally.
But well, I think any team stretch the rules as much as they can. But if it makes me wonder how FIA are going to clamp down on it and know whether the teams are doing it or not.
I don't understand how the FIA. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? What are the FIA really there to do? Because you never really hear of them going, "Oh, we've investigated this and it looked a bit dodgy, and we worked out this crafty shit were going on." It's never that. It's always one team's complained, another team's complained, and then we've investigated, and oh yeah, they're right.
But what you got to think about though is the reason why they don't want the teams to be blowing the fuel out the exhaust to help with the downforce and everything. It's basically to say, look, it's a waste. It's not ecologically correct, and all of this. Well, hang on a minute. Flying all around the world to do some racing ain't exactly ecologically correct.
Economic.
You could just race around Silverstone 20 times in a season.
Yeah. But this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, well, we said this ages ago. I said like about F1 having a bit of an identity crisis. Being aware of the planetary concerns such as global warming, they should be like fuck. This should be exactly like Jeremy Clarkson on the Grand Tour. Oh, fuck this! Just put your foot down and go for it. If they just embraced what they were, they'd probably get more fans. But when they start going, oh, well, what we're going to do is we're going to save fuel by telling them to use less engines, which would then reduce emissions. Does it fuck? How many people? I mean, if you think about all the people that have gone to work on these engines.
How many engines have Honda had to fly around the world?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you've not only got Honda, but imagine the amount of people working at Ferrari and Mercedes-Benz in Germany. How many people have they got driving to work and back every single day, working on their engines flat out 24/7?
Mm.
And all for some engines that they can then go EcoBoost or something like that, or some marketing to basically say we're good for the environment. How they fuck? It's like saying, well, let's try and save a polar bear. What are you doing to save it? Oh, well, we're giving them some ice. It's like they don't need fucking ice. They need to stop burning fuel.
Yeah, I mean,
so just embrace what it is, what F1 is, and it should be the pinnacle of motorsport, and the pinnacle of motorsport should not be concerned with global warming. I know it's a bit harsh to say, but it's a bit like saying, oh, well, no offence, but it's a bit like saying, oh, watch adult movies.
But they cut out the best bits.
But they cut out the best bits. You know what I mean? You won't watch it. You go, well, I'll go watch something where they leave the best bits in.
It's a little bit like when you watch a webcam girl and you're like, oh, she's really nice, and you watch it for 45 minutes and she's not even flashed a nipple.
Oh no!
And then just as you get into it, it comes up private chat and you're bollocks.
Yeah, and you're like,
that's what I mean. The people out there, the guys that listen to this, all right, unless we're under a certain age, you've done that. Anyway,
I'm paid.
Yeah. Neither have I.
No.
Did you know that my mother used to think I used to do webcam sex shows?
But you
only to one person at a time.
Yeah.
But hey, I tell you, we could start this as a bit of a business.
Nobody wants to see us naked.
They do, but it'll just be us. But we'll do exactly what Formula 1's doing. Be us naked, but we'll just be like eating a sandwich or having a cup of tea on the sofa. Just having it out, but just like not doing it with it.
Saying that, I bet Steve could have a shit, and there'd be plenty of weird people out there that'd like that.
Oh, definitely.
Well, I was going to say, if I did an online sex show, I know that there would be at least one person out there watching it because he's watching tonight, and I say he because he is a he. So my new teammate Ray, he's my lover boy. He'd be watching me online.
Hey up.
I would watch you.
If Ray is watching, I told you to mention this to him earlier, Steve, but I run my own racing league, and actually, you know what? I've forgot to mention this to you all.
Are you going to plug your league again?
This podcast is sponsoring my racing league. I don't know if you've noticed.
We have, yeah.
Well, so yeah, we've got some women that paid loads of money to get them dressed up and get our logo in there, but really I didn't. I just nicked an image from Monster Energy Girls, which made me
blacked out all the green.
Oh yeah, and I tell you, removing all the little logos of Monster and replacing them with FRR was quite a challenge, but it was worth it and it was quite enjoyable.
And how many times did you get distracted as you were doing it?
Did you have to take a break because you got cramp in your hand?
Well, got cramps somewhere else. But yeah, so this is it. I'm doing exactly like what we were on about with them sponsors earlier. Go for target market, young lads. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? You have them try to attract young lads. Sound like Jimmy Savile. But if it brings potential sponsors on board, that's what I'm looking for.
Just to say though, James, Ray has just messaged me saying hello all. And he wants to know what racing league. So go on, give it a proper plug. And how does he get in touch with you?
Right. So here we go. If you want to check it out, I run it myself, Ray. So you know that's quality. It's Forever Relentless Racing on YouTube. You can just type in FRR Project Cars, you'll find it. We're currently on season 3. We're going to be moving into season 4. And season 4, the drivers have chose the Ford GT for next season. So that's looking quite good. I've been working on some thumbnails this week. But yeah.
On what device?
Oh, it's on the PS4. You won't be happy, Dave. It's not on the PC. That could be an opportunity for the future, but not as of yet. But yeah, it's going to be a PS4. Project Cars 2 is the game we're using. Races currently are on Monday nights at 8 PM, and then they're put up on YouTube for the following weekend.
So how does Joe Public get in touch with you to join your league?
Yeah, so if you want to you can either contact us on here. I'll have a look on our comment section. You can even comment on a YouTube video, give us a like and a subscribe, and leave a little message saying how can I get involved. And
that's when James says you suck this and you're in.
No, you don't say anything to anybody. Or alternatively, if you've got a PS4, you can just find me on the PSN network, which is James-Hulkenberg, as I am a bit of a Nico Hulkenberg fan. And yeah, private message me on there, and yeah, I'll be in touch. But either way, it's the races are only, I think they're only about 35 minutes long per race. That's what I normally try and limit the laps down to. So it's not like a huge, massive commitment of like hour-long races and stuff like that. But yeah, so Ray knows me. I've actually got a couple of positions opened up because somebody
offended you.
Yeah, they did quite offend me this week, and I thought, you know what, I put a lot of work in here. I'm not putting up with this crap. So unfortunately, this is the main key. If you want to get involved, you've got to be polite. If you're rude, sayonara, my friends. But if you're a polite, nice people, such as Ray, Dave and Steve, and my mate Paul from work, come along and join. Come along and join.
Hey, you know, sometimes you watch some TV programs or films on a bit of a dodgy website. I don't do it, but I've heard of people that do. I was watching some earlier. You know how you get pop-ups with adverts for like dodgy websites, like.
Yeah, I normally get pop-ups going, you will not believe how much money this woman makes in Keighley. I'm like,
there's another one that's
bullshit.
Right. There's another one that's right dodgy that goes, it's like it's a game and it goes, are you a boy or are you a girl? And I'm thinking you're a fucking pedo. But what came up today, and I wasn't really watching it because I was doing myself some food, and then it got to the end of the advert and it said, you will love cunt wars, and I was like, what the fuck? So somebody has made a game and called it Cunt Wars.
I'm surprised I haven't patented that myself.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, that's what the world's come to. So that's how you could get in touch.
I'm just imagining the logo, really close up, and then pulling away into some stars.
Is it a horse or is it a clam?
That'd be it. It'd be making that horse noise as it moves away.
Yeah. Disgusting. Okay, anyway, right, back to Formula 1 quickly. We are going to get on to Baku, honest. But I do want to mention, you know how there's been talk over the last year or so about Aston Martin possibly joining Formula 1 and maybe Porsche and what have you, maybe some others. Porsche have actually come out and said that it will decide whether it's going to be in Formula 1 when the 2021 engine regulation... I don't know what you're doing there, but is that James's mouse?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Is it me? Oh, sorry.
As long as it's not.
As
long as
it's upload a video to YouTube. Sorry.
As long as it's not a Robert Redford.
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford engagement with a rodent.
Robert Redford. Are you on about other bloke from Pretty Woman?
Yeah.
That ain't Robert Redford. That's what's his name? Him with like Chinese eyes. He's always squinting. What's his name? Richard Gere. Is that who you're thinking of?
No, I was thinking of the one that ended up in hospital with a mouse up his arsehole.
Yeah, Richard Gere.
Oh, right, fair enough. My mistake. Anyway, so I'm going to just bypass that. So anyway, Porsche have said that they will make a decision on whether they are going to join Formula 1 in 2021 when the 2021 engine regulation has been decided, and that engine decision is due to be made, I think it's at the end of May.
Yeah.
So we could find out. Go on.
The regulations haven't been written by hand, have they? Big fucking engine.
Oh, you just reminded me actually that you say that the engine regulations need to be decided by the end of, say, May. Have you heard about Christian Horner? It's come out, I think it was yesterday. He was asked a question in the media to do with Daniel Ricciardo's contract. Yeah. And basically he's given Daniel Ricciardo until August, the break in August, the summer break, to confirm what he's doing for next season. And basically the interviewer asked him, what if he decides he's going to be going? He says, we've already got a driver in place to replace him, Carlos Sainz. So they've already named the guy that would be in Daniel Ricciardo's seat if he doesn't take it on. So just thought I'd give you that bit of information.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good for Carlos Sainz, but on the other hand, it isn't really good for Carlos Sainz because, no offence, but they've sort of trash-talked Renault, haven't they, Red Bull? And for the past couple of years, they've not even had Renault on the side of their car, they've had Tag Heuer. How do you say Tag Heuer? How do you say it?
Tag Heuer.
Like that.
Tag Heuer.
So, Tag Heuer. Right, so they've got Tag Heuer on the side of the car, right? And I don't know about you, but hey, I tell you what, Steve, I did that handbrake. Sorry, this is completely off on tangent. I'll be back in 1 second. But yeah, I've used that handbrake thing, and it's gone from being 19 hours down to 2 hours, so it definitely works. That's a good job. Anyway, back on topic.
What? What a handbrake thing?
Yeah, it's basically because this is partly to do with Racing League. I do all my video editing on my Mac, and then after I've done all my editing and my commentary and whatnot, I then upload it to YouTube. So it usually goes up like 5 days after the race has happened, but this one's been about 2 weeks late because I've been moving house. So it's currently I have to use a piece of software called Handbrake, and all it basically does is change it from like 1080p to 750, so it just sort of compresses it a bit, so it can upload to YouTube quicker, and so that's a hell of a lot easier to use, and the listeners are all sat there now going, what the fuck are you on about? Anyway, what were I on about? I forgot. What were I on about, Steve?
I don't know, forgot. Baku.
Tag Heuer. So they've sort of fucked Renault off, and Renault have got to a point now where they're like, you know what, fuck you, see ya. And Red Bull are like, oh well, it's all right because we've got Honda, and no offence, but yeah, the Toro Rosso had a good showing out in Bahrain. But I think that's becoming a bit more clear that it's a bit like that Williams one-off raceway.
Stroll at Baku
this time last year. Yeah, Stroll at Baku. Ended up on podium. I think that Toro Rosso drive, I think it's probably going to be one of them flash in the pan moments where you're like, how the hell did he get so close to a podium? But
well, it's simple. Other drivers crashed out or cars broke down.
Yeah. So Red Bull are basically left now. They're not going to have a Renault engine next year because Renault realistically, they've got their own works team. They don't have that kind of backing they did when they were winning the World Championships, because Renault, technically, as a team brand, apart from 2010, they weren't really in Formula 1. They were as an engine supplier. So throughout them years of winning championships, they were technically like the Renault works team. And they had that kind of status within the paddock. Then, obviously, the hybrid era turned up, and Renault were a bit shit coming out of the blocks, and Red Bull were straight on the case going, fucking shit. Christian Horner crying, what's his name, Cyclops with one eye, he were crying. And then they turn around now, and then, obviously, McLaren were like, these Honda engines are a bit shit. I've got to say, McLaren did an amazing job not to completely do what Red Bull did with Renault, and just go, these are shit, get your ass, you know what I mean? Because if they had done, I mean, Honda might have even just completely pulled out.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, we've got the situation where Toro Rosso have got Honda in the back of their car. The Red Bulls have got the 1 year contract remaining, which is this year, which runs out the end of the year with Renault. For next year, I wouldn't want to be in a Red Bull. No. Because, yeah, it might be a flash in the pan and the Honda might turn up amazing, shit up. But I highly doubt it. I think it's going to be in a similar issue, if not worse, than McLaren.
Yeah, I mean,
than that situation. So if I were Red Bull right now, the furthest forward I'd be looking is I'd be like, met the most of this year because this is the last year with the Renault engine. Then you've probably got a couple of shit years with Honda. Then when 2021 rolls around, you've got the new engine regs, and you need to be getting a different engine manufacturer. And if that turns out to be Aston Martin, jump on it.
Oh, well, the thing is Aston Martin or Porsche, because I think one of the reasons why Porsche want to make their decision as soon as they can is because it gives them then two and a bit years to work to get the engines ready. Now, let's face it, Porsche's hybrids in Le Mans, in the LMP1 series, have been phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, you can just look at the record that was broken around Spa recently.
Yeah,
it was faster than Lewis Hamilton's quali lap.
Yeah.
So I mean that says it all.
And they have just launched an all-electric version that's a bit of a one-off, if I remember rightly. Yeah, it's Porsche would be an interesting prospect, as would Aston Martin. I mean, Aston Martin, I don't think they've necessarily been involved in LMP1s for a long time, but they do have obviously a grand history at the pinnacle of motorsport on the Le Mans side of things.
Well, Porsche have now pulled out of LMP1, haven't they? I think there's only Toyota remaining.
Yeah.
Which is why, if Alonso wants to get a Le Mans victory, this year's the best year to do it because he's got no competition.
Yeah.
All the competition is pretty much equal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean, the thing is, let me just check the website I was just looking at, because I'm pretty sure that Porsche are going into Formula E, right?
I'd heard that,
but it does kind of, well, okay, right. Obviously, I don't know what the financial restrictions are on any of the engine manufacturers or the car manufacturers or anything like that. But if I was like, oh, I don't know whether we should go Formula E with the all-electric or Formula 1, I would honestly look at it and go, well, if we put our eggs in two baskets, we either fail in both, we succeed in one, or we succeed in both. And if we fail in both, we've still succeeded, because we've learned that we don't want to spread our net too wide. Yeah, Porsche is going to be in Formula E from 2019, but the electric everything would not be their motivation.
I can see Porsche being more encouraged to be in Formula 1 than Formula E, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't do Formula E.
Yeah.
I mean, Formula E is mainly a big test for road cars. Whereas this is, well, it is really, isn't it? I mean, road cars in the future, you're not going to get something that produces CO2 emissions, so you really need to work on your Formula E and get your car to end at race without doing a pit stop.
Could you imagine trying to turn IndyCar into all electric?
The Americans just wouldn't have it, would they? No. Or not just IndyCar. What about NASCAR?
Well, just imagine being at the Oval and just hearing wind.
Or if you was in Australia, it's like the V8 supercars without a V8.
The V stands for volts now.
Yeah, 240 volts.
240 V. Yeah, brilliant. But yeah,
I'm just going to say though, James, that the next season of Formula E, you do know that on that next gen car it will be without pit stops.
I mean, you know what I've just thought. You know what I've just thought of then, where banging on about like F1 should be not completely opposed to saving the Earth, but being what it is. It's not there. It's there for entertainment, and it's not there for saving the planet. But yet, at least if F1 set up its own charity, or something where the winner of a race can donate half of their win. You know what I mean? If it was given like a cash prize with a check, and half that check goes to a charity of their choice, or something to like.
Basically, you want about a carbon
plant a
offset.
shitload of trees.
Yeah. So basically, you want about like a carbon offset, where if someone's carbon's emissions are too high, they have to offset it in another way. Some companies do it by having another company that
plants trees.
Yeah, but that kind
Andrex do it. Andrex do it. For every pack of Andrex that are bought,
every puppy they slaughter.
for so many toilet rolls that they sell, they plant a new tree. Even though I don't get it though, because their toilet rolls are all recycled.
Yeah,
so it's
I
not
go
like
through about 4
trees
trees a week.
But that's a good point actually. That if they're recycled, but at the same time, I mean, well, let's face it. Without plants, we don't live, do we? We don't survive.
What?
No.
Don't tell me you don't know the basic science.
No, I'm playing the ultimate thick man. The one who pledges money to a stripper.
What?
Don't understand like the life cycle.
I can just imagine James later on this evening watching a cam girl. He's just like, okay, yeah, for the first time I'm going to pay this woman some money. And just as he pays it, his internet goes off.
Calling Sky all pissed off. I've just paid a lady.
Try asking for a refund on that.
Yeah. Well, it's not really all to do with us, Mr. Shaw. Yes, it fucking is.
That's what they say. Well, we can give you a refund, but it'll appear in your bank as a payment from welovebigwillies.com.
Yeah. Oh man. If you ever done all like that, where it's not actually
Big Willies, no.
What I mean is, if you ever like subscribe to something and then thought, oh shit, I shouldn't really subscribe to that. I need to remove it.
Only the gym.
Yeah. Nothing of the same. Actually, yeah. Well, no, not really.
You don't want to admit it. Come on, explain.
I had to subscribe to Ann Summers to be able to buy somebody a gift online.
That's not quite the same, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but nothing sexual, nothing, no dodgy.
But I remember going in at bank to do a phone call and like, right, which account is it you want blocked? Like, that one that sounds a bit wrong. And I remember it being in the bank trying to explain what this bloody thing. I must have only been about like 19 or something. But I was thinking,
and what was it for?
Alright, because before, like you had HD.
You were going to say casino then, wasn't you?
Casino?
It sounded like
No. But yeah, like before HD.
Yeah.
So it was like the height of this is in it. Like a bit like now, all videos say 4K, like especially if you go on like YouTube, it'll go in 4K, and really it's not. Yeah. They've just put it there to entice you to click on it.
HP ready. Or not HP, HD ready.
Don't you break him with bacon with that?
HP ready. I'm going to pay him back. I bet that'd be a YouTube sensation. Just put HP on anything, like CD player, HP ready. Just throw a lot of brown sauce on it.
If I owned a cafe that did bacon butties, I'd advertise them as HP ready.
HP ready.
You know what? If we ever open a burger van or anything like that, that's what we'll have to call it. HP ready.
Busty Baps HP ready here.
Full HP.
Sorry, James. What was this account thing then? So what was it for?
Oh, we're a dodgy website. Well, it wasn't actually dodgy, but we're a bit like. I'll send you a link.
Don't send me a link. You've already had to block it through bank.
There were like a Alan Partridge skit where we're doing like a bit of a live show, and as he's talking to this man and woman who were talking about something completely horrific, like coming home and getting like gang raped by some burglars, and then it's like, so it's horrific like that. But because he's bored of the conversation, he's messing about on his laptop. But what he doesn't realise is the audience can see what he's clicking on the laptop, but he don't realise it because he's aiming towards the audience. And it pops up with a pop-up saying, "Would you like a bigger penis?" So he moves the mouse on a yes and clicks it. And it isn't until all the audience laugh that he actually realises, oh shit, everybody's just seen me click yes. So then he starts typing out a massive email about, oh, I meant to press no, and, you know... But yeah, it was kind of like that. I remember sending an email, and this was years ago. I remember sending an email saying, I subscribed to this, but I really don't want it, and I want a refund. I bet it was like talking to some Indian bloke in Azerbaijan or something. I tell you, but I got a full refund though, a good company.
Fair enough. Biggerdick.com.
But I've got to say, I was shitting myself at the time because I went on a massive wage and half of it was going on this dodgy website when I was 19. I was like, oh my god, if this don't... You know, like, sometimes when it says... There's kind of scaremonger as well, like, if you cancel or whatever before this date, we will get the money and all. You know that, like, some dodgy credit score's going to come back at you or something like that. So I had to do it the legit way, which was send them an email and then go to the bank and explain that I wanted it removed. And I was just like, why did I ever click yes in the first place?
Because you're a pervert.
Yeah. Exactly. But you didn't just click yes, did you? You put all your bank details in as well.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I must have been desperate, I tell you.
Well,
would it have been cheap? Would it have been cheaper to have a prostitute?
Less hassle, I tell you that. But yeah, I just wish, like, it's weird when you do stuff when you're younger, and then, like, when you look back at it, you're like, why did I fucking do that? I must have been off my head.
Yeah, I think that about my ex
completely
all the time.
I think
why for it.
I think it every day. I think, why did I do that? But, like, little things like making the horse noise.
Why did I not do that?
Yeah. Why did I not do that? Yeah.
But on the other hand, as Yoda would say, failure's the best teacher, or something like that.
Failure is always an option.
Failure's always an option. No.
From
Mythbusters, Yoda in episode 8, it says the greatest teacher failure is. So that's why I always, I kind of just go through life now and go, if I fail, I've learned.
With great failure comes great knowledge.
I thought he was going to say, with great failure comes great responsibility.
Yeah, two of them.
Oh dear. I don't know.
So yeah, Baku anyway. What are you thinking? Because it is one of them races where we had a little bit of a crazy race last time out, and then the first year was boring as fuck. So what do you think we're going to get this year? Do you think we're going to get another boring as old race?
What I'm going to say is at this point, because we're going to talk about it, once we've had a quick discussion on this, we're going to be doing some predictions. So anyone that's listening live now, write in the comments a suggestion for a prediction for us to make for the Baku Grand Prix, and we'll have a read through any that might be suitable for us to put towards.
Here's one. How many shits will Steve have during the F1 race?
None, because I always make sure I go beforehand.
Yeah. Will Dave get to watch this one live?
Well, I didn't get to watch the last one live because I bolted over to my mum and dad's I think it was 6:30 in for the last one. And yeah, I got there thinking, I'm going to have to put my headphones on, be right sneaky. And I realised they'd gone down to London for the day, so I was like, actually, I can listen to this full blast. Sat down, and as soon as I sat down, my tummy went, oh no. So I had to pause it, so I was like 5 minutes behind, or maybe 10. But yeah, I was kind of live, but kind of not.
Yeah. Well, I can let you know that I won't be watching it live because I'm going to Donington Park to watch the British touring cars this weekend.
Hey,
yeah.
So talking of British touring cars, you know of a driver called Jake Hill? I think it may be Damon's son.
Yeah.
Their touring car teams just followed me Racing League on Twitter.
Cool.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Well, make sure you have to make sure you follow them back.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've done that straight away. But yeah, might try and entice them to sponsor me, but I doubt that'll happen. Like,
you don't know. I mean, like I said, YouPorn have just sponsored a sim racing team, so anything's possible. You don't know if you don't ask or you don't try. It's a little bit like, okay, you two have got partners, so you can't do this anymore. But it's a little bit like if you're a single guy, you see a really attractive woman and think she's out of my league, you've already failed. But if you think she's out of my league, fuck it, I'll ask her anyway. At least you tried. That's not to say that I would. I'd walk over, try to do a horse noise, spit in her face, and then get punched.
Everyone's out your league now, Dave.
Well, yeah, they are. They are. I have this problem, right? I'll be on a dating app and going, a bit too chunky that. Nah, a bit too chunky that. And then I go, well, hang on, I'm a fat bastard now. So actually, they're still slim.
And then you go, oh, she's all right. Oh, she's 18, too young.
Yeah. Anyway, right, Baku. Right, okay.
So what's it going to be like this race?
Here's one for you. There's been 2 races there already. Hamilton's had shitters at both. I think
he's got to have a good one.
I think it's going to become a bogey track of his. He's got 1 or 2 of them already. Where I think last year, I can't remember which one it was. There was one track where he'd like not finished in like the top 5, never got pole. I can't remember which track it was. Might be Suzuka. No, it can't be Suzuka. But anyway, I can see Baku being one of those bogey tracks where he just gets unlucky.
Could be, but who do you think could get lucky?
Force India's maybe, because they got decent straight line speed. Their car seemed stronger at the last race. I think Toro Rosso are going to be poor. McLaren might be poor. Red Bull, I think. What the fuck was that?
Oh, God, I've just been battered. I'm trying to get in a bloody toilet for a wee. Jesus. She's like.
I didn't even know you weren't here.
Sorry, yeah, no, I put myself on mute because I nearly fell in bath. She sort of like just nudged me, nearly went flying, and then just got kicked as she came through, you know. So I tell you, sometimes I think you're lucky, Dave. You have to put up with that, being battered and thrown about.
You love it, James, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it could be a bogey track for Hamilton. I think Red Bull are going to struggle because I don't think they've got the straight line speed, and unfortunately, around that track, you need a bit of straight line speed.
So,
go on,
how
James.
is the Williams? Go on, James. I'll let James say something.
All I'm going to say is I've just read something from Claire Williams going, saying. I think we will repeat our performance of last year. I say,
fucking right.
What is she getting paid for comments like that? No shit. Yeah. Jesus.
Well, I was about to say, Williams, will they do any better at this at Baku than what they have done in the other races because of the Mercedes engine, or is their car so bad this year that they are just stuck in a massive hole?
They've just got fundamental problems, and I think them fundamental problems is the
2 drivers.
They've got 2 drivers. No offence, they might as well both be rookies. And Yeah, I think what they've tried to do is they've gone, oh, well, what we'll do is we'll sacrifice this year for next year. And what they've realised is, hang on, we haven't really developed, we haven't spent a lot of money because we're trying to save money. And one, like I say, it's the old saying, if you stand still for 2 minutes, everybody's in front of you. And it's strange, isn't it, how at the beginning of this hybrid era, 2014, they were the second best team on the grid. And straight away, after 3 more years, they're back where they were when Maldonado joined.
Well, I think they're probably in a worse position.
In a worse place, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, okay, Maldonado got a win from... win ain't coming anytime soon.
Yeah. No, I think that were Bernie Eccleston giving them super fuel for Frank's birthday.
Could well be. I mean, what I will say is, I mean, okay, if Williams have a poor year, it's not the end of the world, but they would struggle to cope with it more than, say, McLaren could. But at the same time, Williams isn't dependent on its Formula 1 team to fund Williams. Okay, they have paying drivers, which helps, but they have businesses that bring in funds that fund the Formula 1 team, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think necessarily McLaren have that as much anyway. But McLaren has a much better, I would guess, bank balance. So Williams could have a difficult year, but it doesn't mean that they couldn't bounce back. I mean, you look at McLaren; they are bouncing back. I mean, this is the interesting thing with McLaren, and even. Interesting, right, with McLaren, but also Red Bull. Like you say, if Red Bull went with the Honda engine for next year, well, okay, with the Renault engine at the moment, really, if you're the manager of the team or the owner of the team, you sit there and go, right, okay, if we're going to have a different engine in our car, it's got to be better than what we've already got. And the answer to Red Bull is the Honda engine isn't better than what they've already got, but it could be in the future, so they might take the risk. For McLaren, it was, we need an engine that's better than what we've already got, so even if the Renault is pretty shit, it's better than what they had. And for Williams, I think they may have to look at it in a similar way and go, okay, we've got 2 drivers, and if we're going to replace them, it needs to be with somebody better than what we've already got.
And potentially drivers that are going to bring in more money. Because they need drivers that bring in money by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Because they're not in a situation where they can go, we want Fernando Alonso, Fernando Alonso, have £100 million this year.
Yeah. Now, James was going to say something and he's gone really, really quiet.
Oh, no. I'm just having a bit of a to-do.
A to-do in the loop?
No. Yeah, I hadn't even heard what we said for 5 minutes. So, but yeah, we were on about Williams, weren't we? But yeah, they're shit out there, unfortunately. And it doesn't help when you've got 2 drivers that, no offence, one of them doesn't know. Well, I haven't really heard much from Sirotkin, but I still think it were a bit of a fluke last year with Lou Ferrigno. What's his name? Stroll. I think it was a bit of a fluke with him last year, and I don't see it repeating itself anytime soon.
You really think he looks like the Hulk?
I think he looks like Lou Ferrigno, yeah.
I've actually got a picture of Lance Stroll that I can send you.
Oh, yeah.
Come on then, let's have a look.
Send me a picture of a young lad.
Wow.
Whoa. Sound like a pirate, Steve. Yeah. That's his face. That's his face when he breaks.
Should I show the viewers?
Well, it's funny because I actually sent that to Ray's missus once saying, is this Ray?
That's nice. Okay, so I'll show the viewers the picture of Lance Stroll that I just found oh, hang on, I've just realised I've got a picture to show you guys as well. I think what we'll do with Baku, you know, we'll if we look at making our first 4 predictions, and then we'll see what else we talk about. So yeah, here's... Go on.
I've got the picture of Lance Stroll here, the real one. No, this is him. This is Lance Stroll.
Why do I get the feeling that this is going to be a picture of a penis, James?
That is Lance Stroll.
Okay, that is pretty good.
I've got a picture. I do have a picture of Sorokin.
I'm gonna have to put these pictures on the bloody live stream now.
I thought it would a bit more like this.
So there's my version of Lance Stroll, and here's Steve's. Or was it James's?
James's.
Okay, I will give it. That does actually look like Lance Stroll.
I've actually, you know what? I've got a conspiracy theory here. I think that Sorokin is not actually... Well, it is Sorokin, but it's not actually Sorokin that's driving. I think it's this.
Oh, God.
It's a bit ironic, I think, this picture.
Vladimir Putin in a Renault outfit.
It could be, couldn't it? 'Cause you never actually see him. I bet it always crosses when he goes, "Oh, he's just gone to the toilet before start race," and then he comes out with his helmet and visor on, never shows his face like Stig, and it's actually Putin.
Could well
Won't
be.
surprise me.
Could well be. Okay, right. I'm going to do a couple of the predictions. So our usual ones are pole winner, who's on the podium, first to crash out, and then we've got room for two other predictions. So anyone listening, as Steve said, that wants to give us something we can make a prediction on, feel free to put it in the chat. So Steve, who do you think is going to take pole at Baku this weekend?
Hamilton.
I knew
I'm sticking to my guns.
Yep. That's why I was saying that Hamilton's going to have a shock at. Although he may still get pole. So, James, who's going to get pole position?
Stroll.
No, I'm thinking of somebody outside the box. But then then my brain's going, realistically, that straight's fucking huge.
Yeah.
It could be a horse.
It could be a heart. Well, I'm gonna put down for podium having one of the hearts on the podium. But for pole position, I'm gonna be boring and say Vettel.
Okay. And I'm going to go with Raikkonen, because I think Raikkonen has been the better driver.
So far he should have way more points than Vettel.
Yeah. Okay, so pole positions then is Steve's going for Hamilton, James going for Vettel, and I'm going to go for Kimi Raikkonen. Okay, who do you think is going to win the race?
Well, I think I'm going to have to stick with it, because I think he's going to get one sooner or later. Hamilton.
Okie doke.
Yeah, he looked pretty comfortable last year, didn't he? Until the red flag and everything went tits up. I think I'll say Hamilton for the win as well.
I'm going to go with Vettel. Because Ferrari are going to fuck over Kimi Raikkonen again to get Vettel the win. Okay, so who do you think is going to be on the podium then, Steve? First, second, and third.
First, Hamilton. Second, Ricciardo. Third, Bottas. And the reason why I've not got any Ferraris in there, I think they're due some mechanical failures.
Okay, interesting. James?
I'll go with Hamilton win, Ricciardo second, and
You can't bring yourself to say Magnussen, can you?
I can't. But on the other hand, I can't say Grosjean because he's looked shit so far this year compared to Magnussen.
Go on.
So I'm gonna say Magnussen P3, but he's a knobhead. So I'm gonna enjoy the fact that I'm right if I'm right.
Yeah.
But if he crashes, I'll be quite happy as well.
Fair enough. So your first to crash out is going to be Magnussen then.
Well, Ericsson actually surprised me. Normally, I straight away just look at Ericsson. He just looks like a dope, you know. Well, he's got one of them faces. It's like, I'm an F1 driver. I've got loads of money. He doesn't actually look like somebody who's like got that killer instinct of being a proper Formula 1 driver. I'll probably go with Grosjean first to crash.
Oh, it's first to crash out as well, by the way.
Yeah.
So they can spin, they can hit a wall and carry on. Doesn't matter. It's first to crash and be out of the race.
Yep.
Steve, before we move on, my podium, I'm going to stick with Vettel as being the winner. I'm going to go for Ricciardo second place. So we've all gone Ricciardo second place. Now that could just be because he had a phenomenal last half of the race last time out. But I'm going Hamilton third. So not only is Raikkonen going to get screwed over by Ferrari to give Vettel the win, it's going to put him out of the podium as well. Okay, so James is going for Grosjean for first to crash out. Steve?
First to crash out, Hamilton. Edging my bets.
So Hamilton's going to get pole, win, be on the top step of the podium and be the first to crash out. Good stuff. Okay. Who am I going to go?
Is Hamilton coming first, second and third on yours as well?
Look, none of us has ever got a clear board of scores ever. We've only ever seemed to have got one thing right. So I'm edging my bets. So that's what I'm trying to do.
So
one of our get one thing right though.
One of our predictions now, James, is going to have to be not including Hamilton. Who will do what?
Not including Hamilton. who will do what? Well, that's pretty vague.
I know, but it means
he said it so that I can't say Hamilton. He's not being real.
I'm not being serious. I was
serious.
It's all right. Now we have got two more predictions to make. Have you guys got any ideas of a prediction you might want to
do? I would say.
Hang on, have we had Dave's first to crash?
Oh no, Verstappen.
I was tempted to say that, but I think Verstappen's going to take Hamilton out, and it'll be Hamilton that is out of the race.
Go on, James. You were going to say something.
We said how high Haas, but maybe we should say how high McLaren this week,
or how high Williams.
I think
McLaren is an interesting one to go with.
It is. You could do
Mightiest McLaren.
Okay, do that then. Mightiest McLaren.
I think Van Dorn's got to sort himself out, because if you don't get on pace of Alonso sooner or later, I think he's going to be replaced by that Lando Calrissian bloke.
Norris.
Yeah, because it's the last time we had a rookie coming at Formula 1 in a top team with Lewis Hamilton. And he just hit the ground running, didn't he? Are
you saying that Williams are not a top team?
I don't know.
They're a top team performing badly.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, in terms of McLaren and their two drivers, when Hamilton came into Formula 1 in 2007, he was nip and tuck straight away with Alonso.
Yeah.
And Van Dorn's come in. He's been good in all the categories leading up, and he dominated GP2. But he's got to F1, and I've never seen him. I've never seen the camera pan round, and it's Alonso just in front of Van Dorn, and Van Dorn sticking to him like shit on a hot tin roof or whatever.
I was going to say like shit in a jar.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Sticking like trying to get shit in a jar.
Yeah, and then getting two grumpy people going, Samples. Anyway, they don't sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger, sorry. But yeah, I've never seen him like literally stuck on him. It's always been Alonso end at pit straight, and then at background you can see Van Dorn coming round corner. I've never seen them both on exactly the same pace.
Yeah.
And my mind, whenever I think of Van Dorn, my mind automatically goes back to Spain when he turned in on Massa down at turn 1. And I remember even watching it going, what the fuck is he doing? And then he even said, I didn't even know you were there. And straight away I'm thinking, if you didn't know you were there, what the fuck are you doing? You shouldn't be in the car if you don't know there's a car inside of you.
So what position then for Alonso?
Alonso, I'm going to say P. I think it's going to be a crazy race. I'm going to say P4 for Alonso. I'm going to say for Van Dorn, either crash out or between 10 and 14.
Well, I don't think that McLaren's going to perform at Baku because of their front wing situation.
Should be fixed by them, but go on.
Should be, but I'm going to say P8
for Alonso.
Van Dorn could not finish the race.
It's an interesting one. I'm a bit like James, where I think it could be a bit of a crazy race, and I was tempted to go Alonso P4, but because James has, I won't.
Since I've said P8, you're going to go somewhere in the middle.
Would I do such a thing?
Yes.
P6 Alonso. That's what I'm going for. So we have got room for one more prediction, and we'll give a bit of time on that.
Bear with me, because I've had a message off, I believe it to be Ray, and it might be a prediction. Oh, he's saying Alonso H. But Ray, have you got an idea for a prediction? That's what we need to know. Well, I did have an idea. My idea was first driver to get penalised during the race. Now, that could be not just a driver, but the driver and team. So it could be for an unsafe release. It could be an incident or jump start. It could be for anything but getting a penalty during the race. So which driver is likely to receive a penalty?
That's possible. Is there anything you can think of, James, as a potential prediction?
The only prediction I can say is for both races, there's been something to do with safety car. I'm going to say my bold prediction is the race is going to get red flagged, and somebody's going to completely T-bone somebody where the castle is.
Hang on. It is something for you then. Right? Something we've never done before with the predictions is an open prediction. So, for example, Steve has just said we could do one about who gets the first penalty. So you, Steve, could give a prediction of who you think would be or get the first penalty, right? And James's could be the race will be red flagged, and I think you'd have to give a sort of lap range on that one.
I think the main with the red flag due to a collision at the castle.
Oh, so castle red flag then.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one. Castle red flag. I suppose if there is going to be a red flag for a crash around Baku, it's probably going to be at the castle. So Steve, first penalty.
Well, I'm not actually going to go for that. I'm going to suggest something else, if that's all right.
You would do, since I've just written that down. Go on then.
I reckon we're going to have 4 virtual safety cars during the event.
Ooh. Okay. So 4
during the race. Sorry, not event, during the race.
So 4 virtual safety cars during the race. I'm not going to make my prediction yet. I'm going to have some time to think about it. You two can have some time to think about it as well, or what it may be able to be. And the listeners can have a think as well. If you want to give me a prediction to try and make, I can make one. So, is there anything else? It sounds like someone's trying to squeeze a balloon up their arse or something.
James.
Oh, is it me? Is it me typing? Sorry.
It's James with his Omnibud.
I'm just tapping on
No,
the iPad typing.
it's not tapping. I can hear. It's like like.
Is it that? Is it that?
No, like if you were rubbing a balloon, the noise it makes. It sounded like that, like rubbing a balloon. Anyway, so is there anything else that springs to mind or comes to your attention? There it is again. That comes to mind when thinking about Baku.
Is it in Europe?
No,
technically,
but it's called the Europe. It's not.
Well, I'm not into geography, but if it was called the European Grand Prix, then it's got to be in Europe. But it's not called the European Grand Prix anymore.
No, it's not called the European Grand Prix anymore because it's not in Europe.
I don't understand that. I mean, which twat thought of that? It must have been some absolute plonker.
It's because when they wanted to do an additional race within Europe, they used to call it the European Grand Prix. So that's why sometimes they used to have 2 races in Germany or 2 races in Italy, because one would be at Imola, one would be at Monza, or even in this country they used to have one at Donington and one at Silverstone. So the Donington one was the European Grand Prix. So they just called it the European Grand Prix instead of calling it the Grand Prix of Baku. So just stupid. But yeah, it's the Baku Grand Prix now. Good.
That was a good. I really don't give a shit.
I think what it was, I was watching Dave Lights, Craig Ferguson.
Yeah.
I was watching this thing. There were an interview with him with Larry King. You know, the bloke with the old bloke with the
glasses,
suspenders or whatever. Yeah. And he's like, and we've got a question here off somebody on Twitter. What's your favourite pizza? And he goes, what's my favourite pizza? And he goes, yeah, like a margarita or chicken or something like that. And he goes, and then Craig Ferguson went, yeah, I understand the question. Because I just don't understand who the fuck would want to know what pizza I want. Who the fuck? You're like, who gives a shit about what pizza I want? It was a brilliant question to throw back at him. Like, of all questions to ask me, you've chose this one. Why you know what I mean? Don't waste my time. But it was just so fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. Just to clarify though, where Baku is. All right. Obviously, it's in Azerbaijan.
Near Russia. Is it near Russia?
It's near Russia, but it's on the border and stretches either side of the border of Europe and Asia. So it's in Europe and in Asia.
Alright. So it is in Europe then.
It should be called Asian Grand Prix.
Eurasian, should have been called.
I'm pretty sure if you typed in Google Asian Grand Prix, you'd probably find some woman strapped to her bed with a queue of naked men.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Endurance series. 24 hours.
It wouldn't be the Grand Prix, it'd be the Gang Prix.
Oh.
Grand Prix.
Yeah, full of old gits. Grand Prix.
Oh god.
Grand Prix. That'd be amazing. I tell you, we need to make money.
Oh dear.
It's a surefire thing.
So nothing else springs to mind about Baku then? Well, I tell you what, right? Interestingly, Steve has not that long ago done a race on the PlayStation around there. Now, Steve, for you around there, is there any corners around there that need to be changed, or is there any really good overtaking, or even the castle section? Should the castle section be on that racetrack?
Trying to remember now.
I don't think.
The castle section, it's controversial, isn't it, James?
It's bullshit. You're going to get no action there other than a crash.
It's all about sightseeing at the end of the day. It's about showing the castle off, and it's all about trying to get people to go and visit Azerbaijan, and they're trying to make it into like a Monaco where people walk around the Monaco circuit when it's not the Monaco Grand Prix, but they walk around and go, "Oh, this is where Casino Square is because the casino's there. Oh, this is this bus stop, not the bus stop. This is the harbour chicane." They walk around it, and obviously at Baku they've gone, "Well, if we go past the castle, people might want to come and visit the castle." And it's like, well, it doesn't make for good racing. And I've said the same about other circuits, and I'm going to bring this up as an example. And they could have done something similar with Baku, right? The lap is too long, in my opinion, and it's the same as at Singapore. And at Singapore, I think it's turn 7. No,
yeah,
9.
We said where the two corners
go opposite
makes a
way,
bit of an X. You could just join it up there because
you could miss
length
half
of
the
that
circuit
track
out.
is shit.
Yeah, and at Baku, right, where you go, there's a short straight before you. Right, where the castle section is, if you work back from there, back from the castle section, so you go back a corner, the track goes up and down itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not put a hairpin in there?
Yeah.
And fuck off the rest of the circuit and just put a hairpin in there, and that would be a much better circuit, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But
nobody's ever going to listen to us. It'd just be. I mean, I don't understand what that Ermin Tilke gets paid for, especially these street circuits, because he ain't designing the racetrack. He's just going, which street are we going to go up? Well, we'll go up that one. Oh, right, okay.
I should get in touch with the FIA and just say, look, give me half the money you're giving him, and I'll give you a better circuit.
Yeah.
The thing is, I actually like the castle section.
Well, go visit it.
Hold on, I've got no intention. I've got no intention of visiting a castle.
But what? See if you can remember this, Dave. What shop is on the corner of the castle section?
Oh, of course I know. It's an optician's.
Yep.
It was me that first pointed it out.
I pointed it out to you.
Oh, I don't know. It was years ago. But yeah, I find it funny. I mean, see, that's the kind of thing that we would do, though. If we were walking the streets to work out where we were going to have a racetrack, and we'd walk down that street and gone, hey, there's an optician's there. If we took the road up there, that'd be really funny if anyone crashed, because there'd be an optician's sign on the screen. Right, we'll put a corner in here.
You should have gone to Specsavers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I don't understand. That'd be the best thing. That'd be the only thing which I think that's quite smart is, the barriers either side are currently like red and white. Why not a company like Specsavers have their branding on a really awkward corner at a street circuit? Because there's going to be a crash there, and then every pundit's going to go straight away, get to Specsavers. But yeah, in terms of a spectacle,
no pun intended.
It doesn't really give out to me. It's a bit like what's the other corner that does wedding? Monaco's all pretty shit hot. There's no corner around Monaco where I'm like, oh, that's a bit. Whereas, I mean, I think the best corner at Monaco is to back shit. I love to back because it's blind.
Yeah.
For us viewers that are listening, they'll be like, "What you want about?" But I mean, like, when you're on board, you can see that the driver can't see anything, and if there's a bit of a pile up around that corner, they're going to go in flat out, and it's going to be pretty horrific. What's going to happen? But I think as a spectacle on TV, the corner after to back, the left-right,
the swimming pool.
The swimming pool, that is probably one of the best camera angles all season long, where you see the cars just floating the rear end through that left-right through the swimming pool. I think probably the only corner which has been completely shit on is the one after that swimming pool, the right-hander where they've curved it off. What the fuck? Get it back to a 90-degree right-hander, and it really does test the drivers, and it slows them down. So I just don't understand why they aren't kept it the way it was.
It's caused more crashes now they've changed it.
Yeah.
But going back to Baku, Dave was saying about what corners are good for overtaking on and which corners would I change. Obviously, I've said I'd change the whole second half of the circuit, but the corners for overtaking on, there's turn 1, and then there's turn 3 if you're lucky. After that, you can't overtake because you just can't.
The majority of time, you get a good overtake, and that is usually when you've had a long straight, hairpin long straight. You got a big braking zone, and then end at next straight, you got another braking zone. A bit like Canada. And Canada does promote decent overtaking.
Just going to say that about Baku with that long straight. The problem I found with it on playing it on Codemasters, it might be the same in real life. I don't know, but we'll find out. And that is actually overtaking into turn 1 isn't that easy. Not unless you get a really good run on someone. If you come out of the final so-called last corner, reasonably close to the car in front, you're not going to get a good slipstream on them. All you're going to benefit from is the DRS that you're going to get. But the problem is, you've almost maxed out the capabilities of the car and the engine before you open your DRS. So when you open your DRS, there's very little to gain and benefit from opening that DRS because it's pretty much at the limit of the car anyway. So if you do get past into turn 1, it's not because you've gone past them in a straight line and have gone past them. It's because you're out braking them into turn 1.
Well, yes, but there is also the problem of if you are too close when you open your DRS, you are past them too soon, which means they can dive into your slipstream and re-attack you down into turn 1.
Exactly.
So it's
that's why I think it'd be better if the corner was cut. If the circuit was cut shorter. But on the other hand, why not make some of those last couple of bends tighter? I don't mean narrow the road, but maybe you do need to narrow the road, but bring in the inside apex a bit, so that the cars have to maybe drop a gear or do something different around there.
Yeah, make it
as good as it is going flat out through there. Make it more technical.
Or maybe they'd be better off by just making it straighter.
Or do what they did at Canada years ago and put a tyre wall chicane halfway down the straight.
Oh, fuck that. I actually watched the original footage. What on earth are you doing, James?
Sorry, I'm just moving my headphones, sliding off my head.
All right. You'll have to listen back to the podcast, right? Because if it's coming across on the podcast,
normally when I listen, as you're talking and you're going, "What's going on?" I'm like, "What are you on about?" And then until I listen back, I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. So I know it might sound like a bollocky at times, but it's because I can't hear you. I can't hear Steve. But
just hear squeaking.
Yeah. Now. Yeah, I was watching the original footage of the Diabolical race in America, where quite a few of the Michelin teams. Sorry, no,
all of them.
Well, no. Quite a few of the Michelin teams were trying to get the FIA to. No, sorry, it was Michelin themselves wanted the FIA to put in a tyre barrier chicane around the final corner, and the FIA refused to do so. Ferrari had the choice to agree with the change, but decided not to because in a previous year when Ferrari had problems with a Bridgestone tyre and had requested a change, the other front-running teams like McLaren basically told them to go fuck themselves. So Ferrari could have done the right thing in America to put on more of a show, but decided, no, you screwed us, so fuck you, we're going to screw you, we'll go and get an easy 1-2.
But it was an easy 1-2, but it really did fuck them over because it just meant that all people in America just looked at F1 and thought, what a joke.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it might have been a fuck you to the teams, but in terms of what they were doing to the sport that they participate in, they were fucking themselves over.
Yeah.
So,
and that's where the FIA should have just put the foot down and said, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Not all teams don't have to agree. I mean, if it's a safety thing, which obviously it was either put the chicane in or these cars aren't racing, then it should have been, in my opinion, you put the chicane in.
Yeah, I think I remember watching one of them things, you know, on Sky where they like replay the same old fucking interview about 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
It was one with what's his name?
Joe
That bit
Bauer.
of a the FIA pervert. What was his name? Max Mosley. That's it. Yeah. He was going, oh well. The thing is, if there'd have been a crash there and a fatality, then we'd have been responsible. It's like, you're responsible anyway, because you run fucking Formula 1.
Mm.
So even if a crash had happened and a fatality at a corner which you put in there, or you didn't put in there, it don't matter either way. It's like, oh, we would have been liable for the death. It's like, of course you'd have been fucking liable for the death. You're liable for every single death that may happen. But the drivers know every single time they get in an F1 car, I'm putting my life on the line here, they don't sit and get in car and go, oh, well, you know, at least my mum and dad will get a good insurance payout for my death. They don't give a shit. And half of them are billionaires anyway, so I just think...
but they can't spend the money if they're dead.
Yeah, but, you know, I just think the FIA... I don't understand what the FIA do. And I'd love to know what they actually do. And that sounds wrong, doesn't it? Do. But I'd love to actually work with them, you know, for the same wage I get paid now, work with them and just really, you know, like I say, put the foot down and get some proper rules put in there. So, a bit like the other week when they were put out to media, oh, we're putting out these rules and these are the options that we're putting forward to the teams. It was basically like, would you like to do this? It's like, no, fucking say, these are the rules, participate or fuck off.
No, I don't know whether last week, James, you were with us at this point, but I remember discussing about when the safety car came out, the length of time it took for the safety car to come out was about 2 laps. And should the FIA or Charlie Whiting called the safety car out sooner? What was the reason for it coming out? You know,
I think that we were discussing that when James did say, but we were discussing it when James has lost connection.
Well, and we're just thinking though, wouldn't it be better? Not the same. And we did mention a little bit about this. That shouldn't the FIA try and clarify certain things? But there's been many race teams that have done documentaries. Shouldn't the FIA do a documentary behind the scenes?
Yeah. Well, at least, like I say, more clarity the better.
But even if they don't use certain incidents as an example, they just basically, you know, give the fans an idea of what they do.
Yeah.
You know, when an incident happens, these are the criteria we have to tick, the boxes we have to tick before we can call a safety car. Or a virtual safety car.
I wouldn't even say that. I think I mentioned it last week that if they have, I mean, we've seen it before where you see a shot of Charlie Whiting in the in race control, right? So there's a camera in there. Obviously, the race control room is separate from the stewards' room where the stewards decide a penalty. That's different. But if it's Charlie Whiting that has that overriding decision or has the switch for pulling out a safety car. If they had that recorded, because it was something that Vettel had complained about afterwards, about the length of time. But if Charlie Whiting was able to go, okay, you want to know what happened, watch the video, this is what happened. So then the driver can go, right, this is the point that the incident happened, and I can physically see what happened up until the point of calling out the safety car. And I don't think you were with us for this bit, James, because I asked Steve the question, right?
Right.
I was saying that obviously there is a certain point where the decision is made, right, we need a safety car. Once that decision has been made, then technically they cannot delay bringing out the safety car. As soon as that decision is made, the safety car must go because it's a safety situation, right? But one of the things me and Steve was discussing was the length of time it takes to get to said decision. Now, if it turned out that they decided, right, okay, what we'll do is we'll change the rules so that once the decision to bring a safety car out has been made, then we wait until the lead car is at a certain point before we bring the safety car out. There's those noises again. Sorry, I can't even hear myself.
Sorry.
Yeah, so if they had it where once the decision is made, they were allowed to wait as soon as I start talking again, innit?
I literally am sat here not doing anything. It can't be me.
It's not me.
He shouting at Steve.
No, because I can hear it.
Don't know.
Can you hear the noises, James?
I can't hear. All I can hear is Dave talking, and then you going.
Yeah, me and Dave can hear the noises, and you can't, so it must be you.
Yeah.
Right, I'm not touching on now.
Wait for it.
Keep him well away.
Sit on your hands, James.
Okay, so right.
Sit and face the corner.
Right, I believe that currently it is, once the decision is made, they flick the switch, the safety car goes, that's how it should be. But should the teams agree that once the decision is made that the FIA should wait until the lead car has enough time to decide to pit before they bring the safety car out?
Depends on where the incident is. On the circuit.
I'm not asking you, I'm asking James.
I do think with safety car, it should when there's an incident, the safety car should be out for a maximum of 3 laps. If the marshals can't get whatever it is sorted within them 3 laps, you go instantly to a red flag. Because what I hate is watching the laps count down and you sat there, especially when it's fucking raining, and you just sat watching half at Grand Prix go, and you're like, I've paid money for this. Whereas at least if you red flagged it after 3 laps of safety car, if the marshals cannot get a dangerous situation sorted, red flag it, and then at least the audience don't miss out on the race.
Yeah.
So why not then scrap the safety car altogether?
And just red flag.
Right. And no, not just red flag it. Instead of a safety car, they do straight away virtual safety car. They know they've got to do something, so the virtual safety car neutralises the race. What that does then is calls all the cars back to either the pit lane if the incident is on the pit straight, or grid slots in your order that you're in for a restart.
Only problem is you can't guarantee that the incident isn't going to be on the pit straight.
No, but if that's why they go and stop in the pit lane in that situation, and then once it's cleared, they go around and line up on the pit straight again. But another way around it is, instead of waiting for those 2 laps to make that decision to do the safety car, why not go, we have a situation, we are going to need to do something here, and instead of trying to work it all out for 2 laps, instantly virtual safety car. No one's a winner or a loser in that situation then of a virtual safety car.
I'd add in that virtual safety car pit lane is closed.
Right. What happens then is, once the leader has gone past the start-finish line and a certain distance away round, pit lane can then be opened, so all cars have got an equal chance to get into the pit lane if they want. But if they're going to call a safety car, because it's under the virtual safety car, they can say, well, okay, before we call the safety car out, we need to do this once the leader is in a certain point on the track. Because it's already under virtual safety car, no one should be benefiting by that point. And take the China situation where it was the incident was at the penultimate corner, the hairpin. If they'd have done virtual safety car for 2 laps, they could have then said, it's going to be a safety car, full safety car, when Hamilton's going down the back straight. At that point, or not Hamilton, sorry, the leader goes down the back straight. At that point, they can all go in the pits if they want. I mean, why can't they, if they're going to use virtual safety car in Formula 1, in my opinion, a virtual safety car, in a way, should always be called before a safety car. Because straight away, it just neutralises the race. Everyone slows down everywhere. And then if they need a safety car, it can come out.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I think the only issue that I'm thinking of is, let's say, for example, there's a crash at the penultimate corner, a driver's lost his front wing, and he's got a massive puncture. If you automatically call virtual safety car pit lane closed, obviously that driver's going to have to pit no matter what because he's got a puncture. His front right tyre's down to the alloys, and he's going to need to change his tyres. What then happens to that driver then?
Cars involved in the incident are allowed to pit.
Yeah.
So you'd have the specification of in an incident, in a situation like that where a driver has significant damage and a puncture, they could pit. You still have the problem of, well, other teams go, well, I drove over a bit of debris and we had a tyre deflating and blah blah blah. Well, they'd have to prove that 100% for me, and if they don't, disqualified.
You couldn't have a situation where I drove over debris and we changed it for precaution reasons.
Yeah.
Well,
you should be going slow enough that if you've got a bit of a puncture coming, it's not going to ruin your car or your race. But I mean, not
if you're travelling at virtual safety car speeds.
We are diversing away a little bit from the point I was trying to make, though. By if they had the cameras in there in the race control, where they could actually show what happened, the discussions that happened that led to the decision of safety car needs to be called, and showed them, right, that decision being made, right, we need a safety car, and no consideration whatsoever as to where anybody is, and just hitting the button. If that footage was shown, it instantly shuts up people that are going, well, why did they wait 2 laps? Because that's one of the, why did they wait? Well, here's your answer. They had to make sure that all the boxes were ticked for requirements for a safety car or whatever it may be. And annoyingly, I mean, we had it in Australia and we had it in China as well, where as a viewer you sat there going, that'll be a safety car, that will, straight away, that'll be a safety car, that will. But because they've got to check certain boxes, it takes them time. And why do they have to check certain boxes? Because in the past, teams will have complained, why did you bring out a safety car? It ruined my race. So they now legally have to have backing that says, to bring out a safety car, you need this, 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 this and this, and if none of those, if any one of those is not involved, you can't bring out a safety car. So if they've got to complete a checklist, it makes it ridiculous. And the reason, I mean, something's just sort of come to my mind about it. I remember watching on Discovery Channel air crash investigations, right? I used to really enjoy watching them, not because people died, but I found them fascinating, right? And one of them that was fascinating, I can't remember like which plane it was, where it was, or anything like that, but it was to do with the checklist that pilots do before they take off, or if they have problems in the air, they have to go through checklists. A little bit like, you know, Sully, the guy who landed on the Hudson River, right? The first thing he did, which actually saved the plane the most, was something like 0.20 on the checklist, and had they stuck to the checklist, they would never have actually saved the plane, and that was to turn on the auxiliary fan, which just freely blows in the wind, giving a little bit of power to the plane to give it a little bit of control. If he hadn't have done that and they'd have stuck to the checklist, they'd all be dead. Right, and it's similar for airplane checklists at the start. There used to be a long list of things to check off, until someone came up with the idea of, actually, let's break this long list down into shorter pages, and then nothing gets missed. And so it's kind of like, if the FIA have got to sit there and check off a checklist before bringing something out like a safety car, because teams will take them to court if they think they can, is wrong.
Yeah, I can imagine though the situation may have gone something like this, right? There was no car impeding anybody. There was no driver at danger from having an accident, you know, where he needed medical attention. If a driver needs medical attention, I can imagine Charlie White, he can just go bang, safety car. Yeah, or red flag or whatever, because like he needs medical attention.
If the G meter's gone off.
Yeah, they can do that straight away. But because it was debris on track, I can quite imagine they would have been, I want cameras to show me what's on that corner. And if there's got a camera angle that's not quite right for him, it could quite easily be radioing to somebody somewhere saying, I need a better angle of this debris before I do anything about it.
Yeah.
And if, you know, how long does it take for someone to point a camera in the right direction? Who knows? But it could just be the matter that he needed to see exactly what was there and whether it was going to be a safety car or not. Now, he might have been wondering, but then when he saw the footage of the Toro Rosso driver going back round and running over the debris again, that might have then been the trigger to, okay, yeah, there is a lot of debris there. Because at first look, I mean, yes, we heard Martin Brundle say, "Oh, that'd be a safety car for the debris," but if Charlie Whiting didn't see the incident, he's not listening to the commentary.
Yeah.
If he didn't see the incident, because he might be looking at 1,000 other different screens that he can see everywhere else,
or he was laughing at the fact 2 Toro Rossos crashed into each other.
Yeah, whatever it may have been, he needs to see what is on the circuit before he calls a safety car out. So, would there have been any harm though in him doing a virtual safety car and going, well, actually, we don't really need this. Okay, tell them we can turn the virtual safety car off again. Okay, teams are going to complain, but then nobody loses, nobody wins. So I think that the virtual safety car could be used in a much more, just in a better way than it is at the moment. I'm not saying it should always be a virtual safety car.
Steve, you're going to give James a chance to speak?
No. I've had the mic.
It's like he goes quiet, waits for James to speak, and James goes there.
Yeah, no, but I think, I mean, we're all originally brought in because of Jules Bianchi's death, along with the halo. But now they've got the halo there. Why have we still got the virtual safety car in the first place? I mean, I thought the virtual safety car was there until they got the halo up and running. Now the halo's up and running, why do we have the virtual safety car?
No, I think it's a little more than that. I don't think it was ever brought in as a until we get the halo. It's more we want a system that can nullify the race without us having to bring out a safety car, because by bringing out a safety car, you effectively you're
affecting the race.
You're affecting the race, because if someone's out front by 30 seconds, they're no longer out front by 30 seconds. But with a virtual safety car, they should be, unless people pit, like we saw in Australia. So I think the virtual safety car will stay, and if it was used better, then they could, to a degree, nullify. They could scrap the safety car, because if you take what you're suggesting, James, of all right, I agree with you. If the safety car is out continuously for 3 laps, then red flag the race
or more. Yeah.
Well, no, for 3 laps, red flag the race. Stop it. Because it's a little bit like, say, I mean, use football as an analogy. A player gets injured, he's broken his leg, and it takes 10 minutes to deal with, but the clock's still ticking. That ain't gonna.
Yeah, you don't get that 10 minutes added on. Yeah.
You do.
In
they
football,
add it on at the end.
That's
in football you get the injury time at the end.
Yeah.
But
this is what
the referee adds on injury time, but in Formula 1 they don't.
Well, this is what I'm saying. In football now, you would not get away with letting that clock carry on ticking and basically let the game go on while it stopped. It wouldn't happen.
In British touring cars, if the safety car is out for 3 laps or more, the laps still tick down, but they will add on an additional 2 laps for each 3 laps that are followed behind the safety car. So the race is extended. So if the safety car is out for 3 laps, you get an additional 2 laps on at the end of the race. If the safety car's out for 6 laps, you get 4 laps added on. That's my understanding of it.
That's an interesting rule, and I can understand why they'd go like, okay, it's out for 3 laps, we're not going to give you 3, because even though you're saving fuel, you're still using some, so you wouldn't have enough fuel to do effectively 5-6 more laps in the race. But I do think they could work a much better system. I'm interested to see what's going to happen at Baku, because at Baku there is the potential of Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull fucking off into the distance, right, and potentially lapping a lot of people. Now, if that's the situation,
James has eaten his microphone again.
If that's the situation and you end up with a virtual safety car or a safety car that affects the result again, I think there could be a bit of an uproar because you'll have Australia, which was affected, China that was affected, and if you have 3 out of 4 races in the start of a season that are basically decided by a safety car or a virtual safety car, that's asking some questions that, or pointing that something is clearly not right.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the best team and driver are supposed to win the championships. But if safety cars or virtual safety cars are able to affect the results, how long will it be before we see another Nico Prost? Is it Nico Prost? No, not Nick. Prost Jr., isn't it? Yeah.
No, PK Jr.
PK Jr.
At Singapore.
Yeah. At Singapore. How long before another situation like that?
So James has got a new Twitter follower by the looks of it.
He's kept quiet. What's this, James?
Real.
What?
I couldn't hear you then.
We're going to have to wait for him to pull out his microphone out the other end.
James?
Yeah.
This is James's wonderful new internet. Tell your hamster to run a bit quicker.
Hello?
I'm here, Dave.
I know you're there. We can't hear you.
Okay, so we are currently sponsored by James's league, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
we're sponsoring James's league.
We're sponsoring James's league. Maybe we should be donating towards his internet.
Maybe. I feel for him though, because he's had internet in today. He's meant to be getting 100 meg, and he was getting 5, and it went up to 7.
Yeah, I think it's just dropped to 0.7.
Yeah. I think he's still in the call, but we just can't hear him at the moment. But ow. I'm interested.
Look at it. Is that what you're on about with James's new Twitter follower?
Yeah, you just seen the picture.
Yeah, maybe it's just hit mute for a minute so we can't hear him.
No, I could hear him trying to speak. James.
Oh.
It's like he's. I'm just going through this tunnel. He's coming out the other side. Hello? Is it me you're looking for?
That's what it sounds like.
Oh.
Hello?
We can hear hello, and that's it.
Yeah. This is like the old PS3 days, trying to speak to somebody on a game, on the in-game chats.
Oh.
You can hear us say hello, but nothing else.
Try saying something else, James.
Well, just to let everyone know, James has sent me and Steve a picture of a rather attractive woman with a rather big pair of airbags, who I'm guessing is not going to be a real person, because if she's into online gaming, I think I've just found my new ex-wife.
She's out your league, Dave.
They're all out my league, mate.
I'll find you one in your league.
No,
Susan Ball's still alive, isn't she?
Thanks. So yeah, while we try and get James reconnected properly, James, you might, I don't know if it'll work or not, it might, if you jump out of the Skype chat and come back in, I don't know if that might work.
I wonder if I can kick him out.
No, don't, 'cause if you kick him out, it might not let him back in.
So then, while we're waiting for James to come back, should we talk Star Wars while he's not here?
I bet he can still hear us. Well, actually, no. If he could hear us, then it would suggest it'd be a problem with his microphone.
Oh, like I said, he swallowed it.
Well, yeah. I will say I have watched the new Tomb Raider recently. Good film. Now.
I haven't got around to watching that yet.
Okay, James has just dropped from Skype, I think.
Right, I'll send him another invite back in, and hopefully that will clear things up a bit. Unless he's ran off to reboot his router.
He may have done, actually.
But quite often, though, when you get internet back for the first time, I just got a message off James. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, when you get internet for the first time, it can be a bit iffy on that first day. So we've not done too bad. 2.5 hours in, and first issue with him. So no, I've sent him another invite. Whether he gets back in or not, we'll have to see.
I think he has. No, he's not come back in yet. I think he actually may have called us, but it didn't come.
Hello?
Hello!
Oh, there he is.
Can we hear you now? Hello. Okay, so it seems like we are still struggling to hear you, James. Can hear you when you say hello, but other than that...
Well, while James is trying to digest his microphone, you've still got a prediction to make.
Yeah, I've been trying to think about it a little bit. I'm just wondering if it's worth you restarting the call. Maybe.
What, and then you join me back in a minute?
Yeah, could do. Or get James to start a call and see if it works on that way. Wonderful technical difficulties.
Well, we don't know if James can hear us, so
that is a good point, actually.
And if I go, you'll be talking to yourself.
True. Well, I'll be talking to the listeners.
True.
But
right, so I will add you back into another chat in a minute then.
Okay.
Another call in a minute.
No problemo. Okay, so just gonna have a quick look. Baku Grand Prix this weekend. So just gonna have a quick look at what times it is on, because with China being at the time it kind of made things all a bit skewiffy. So 1:10 then for the start of the race in Baku. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, well
I'm here.
I can hear you. Is James in with us? I don't think he is.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, so it's possible that James is having internet issues and trying to sort them out. But yeah, 1:10 is when the race starts on Sunday.
What do you think about this 10 past hour business? Has it made any difference to you as a viewer?
No, not really. It doesn't really make any difference.
Do you know what I've noticed? It depends on whether you watch it on Sky or Channel 4 in this country. Because if you watch it on Sky, it's not changed their run up to the start of the programme, or it's not changed how they introduce the race or present it. It's just basically everything's moved on 10 minutes. Right, and that's absolutely great for Sky. Right, Channel 4 though, I don't know what they're thinking. It's like, oh, starts 10 minutes later, we can get an extra advert in.
Oh god!
Right, and literally, they do the national anthem. Right, they do a few minutes chat, and I'm pretty sure, missed the what's it, outlap, not the outlap, but the formation lap. And now, sometimes people break down on the formation lap, and to me, and as people have said in the past, that is part of the race. Yeah. The formation lap is part of the race. You miss it. The cars are lining up on the grid. When the commentary comes back on, it's like, well, is everything still okay? You're just assuming it is. I didn't like it. It really did annoy me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've watched it on Channel 4 yet. I mean, I did think that on Sky it would make like when they do the replay show, then at least there's still 10 minutes build up to it, but there isn't. The replay show literally is Lazenby introducing Crofty and Brundle, and they crack on, and then the formation lap starts. But I don't have a problem with that as the replay show, or the rerun, so to speak. Watching it live makes okay, James is having internet issues, but he is going to be back with us as quick as he can. Yeah, watching it live made no difference whatsoever. I actually liked it in a way because, oh Jesus, just see Steve sends a picture with Dave's new bird, and it's
Ray sent it to me.
Yeah, it gives Brundle more time to do his grid walk.
Yeah. And like I mentioned, he actually talks to some of the drivers coming away from the national anthem at the start. And with Sky, they've kind of embraced it in a way, or they seem to use it better. But Channel 4 have gone, let's stick some more adverts in. And it's just, you're just building up to the race adverts.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, what do most people do when the adverts come on? Quick, let's make a cup of coffee. Well, you don't want to do that just before the lights go out. So it's kind of like forces you to sit there to watch the bloody adverts.
Yeah.
It just wound me up when I saw it anyway.
Yeah, it would me. I've just had Skype make an interesting noise. I don't know if it was James trying to make some kind of contact, but I can't see anything. Yeah, I mean...
He's giving me thumbs up, so I'm going to try adding him back into the chat again.
Okay. I mean, it's... well, I mean...
It's what?
I mean, things like that, though, with sticking the advert... adverts piss me off. Right, they really do. And I must admit, it is one of the things that I really do like about binge watching something where you've got multiple episodes of a series that has been shown on TV but doesn't have any of the adverts in it. It's so much better, because I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV as it is, but it used to really piss me off. Like, you just get into a show and then there's a 4 minutes worth of adverts, and then you're another 8 minutes into the program, and then there's another 4 minutes. It's like, hang on a minute, this programme started at 8 o'clock, it's supposed to finish at 9 o'clock, but when you actually work it out, there's about 35 minutes worth of programme and the rest is adverts. It's like, hang on a minute, that's bullshit to me.
The amount of times I've watched stuff on my box sets and stuff, it's like they're supposed to be an hour-long programmes, but they're not, they're 42 minutes long.
Yeah.
Because it's got the adverts missing out of it, so it's a 42-minute programme that's been advertised as an hour-long programme.
Yeah, so in an hour-long programme, 18 minutes of it is adverts.
Yeah, I suppose that's not that bad, but it just still gets annoying.
Not that bad. Is what? What percentage? 20%?
In an hour long,
no, it's
18,
more than
20.
It's more than 20%. Because 60 minutes, 10% would be 6 minutes, so 20% would be 12 minutes. So it'd be 25%.
Yeah.
25%.
My brain was thinking 100 minutes. You see.
Okay, Skype is showing me as having notifications, but I'm not seeing anything like any messages from James.
It might be notifications that I'm trying to add James into the call.
Oh, it could be.
I've got a notification as well.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
No. And thank you for watching everyone today. And
see ya. Bye. Bye.
So James.
Jesus.
So James, what were you saying?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what he was saying.
Hello.
Oh God, what a joke! I don't know what happened there.
In fact,
this
actually,
lovely internet.
You wasn't actually saying hello. You went hit.
Yeah. I can't remember what we were talking about. We were around about like safety cars and shit, but yeah, I just wish we were employed by them so we could tweak the rules a bit. You know, it'd be lovely.
It would.
Somebody pay us £10 an hour. That'll do us.
Oh, I know something, right? Not Formula One related, that I wanted to bring up on a previous podcast. I'm going to mention now. Sorry, I'm having one of James's favourite chocolate bars at the minute.
What is it?
Twirl.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Twirl. I went and got some white Lion bars today from Own Bargains. Oh yeah.
Right, James, you were just saying there, pay us £10 an hour. That'd be enough. I mean, it's still more than minimum wage, but Steve's got kids, right? I haven't, that I know of. James hasn't got children, but you never know. It may be not too long. But recently, the British government decided to ban James having a kettle. The British government voted against free school meals for children whose parents can't really afford to pay for school dinners. Now, I was talking to my mother about this and saying, hang on a minute, something is wrong here. If every politician can claim expenses into the tens of thousands of pounds for homes, dinners, food, travel, cars, a fuckload of stuff that comes to a ridiculous amount of money, yet we can't give children a free school meal, when in reality every single child's school dinner should be free. Something's wrong. And I'm interested to know what your thoughts are, James. Because you might be a parent soon.
Well, I work at a place, don't need to give the name, but this executive came down, right? And he'd ordered a load of hi-fi equipment, pretty much the full works, you know, amplifier, loads of big speakers, all sorts. Comes down, and we put it all on a trolley for him and said, like, you know, there's a load here, you'll have to sort them out. And he was like, oh yeah. He'd gone and got, like, his assistant, and his assistant were helping him load them all up on trolley and take them out to his car. And I thought, is that really what you should be doing? I mean, you're a top exec. Yeah, you're using perks of, you know, getting a private parcel delivered. But should you really be also taking away your assistant from doing her work to help you load up your hi-fi into your car? And it's stuff like that where you just sit back and think, you know what? I'm not going to get stressed out about my work, because it's clear that they're not getting stressed. They're getting paid the big bucks to stress out about stuff, and they're not, quite clearly.
Right, James, if you're at work, though, and it's your lunch break, would you go and have your lunch in a restaurant, bring the receipt back, give it to your bosses and say, can you refund me this because I've had a working lunch?
No, because they turn around and tell me.
Why then can the government do it?
Because it's fucking... Well, it's a bit like royal family. How can they just go around shagging all week and then everybody has to lick their ass when they have a baby? But yet, if I turn around and have a baby, nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean?
You do. You give shits to people at hospital.
They don't want it either. They don't want my shit.
Sorry, I couldn't resist it.
Even the people that need my shits don't want my shit, or don't really need them. They're just kind of doing me a favour. But I don't know. It's just, you should turn around and say, look, if it's not right for kids, it's not right for you. So fuck you. Yeah. But it ain't going to happen, because the government's run by, no offence to Prime Minister, but she just doesn't come across to me like she understands the normal, average, everyday working Joe. She understands the toffs. Yeah. And
that's always the same though with Conservatives.
Yeah. I mean, you look at David Cameron before her. He didn't. I didn't ask him to be my Prime Minister. He became my Prime Minister because Gordon Brown were booted out. And I always said to my mum, there's something about him, and it's probably because he just sounds like a cunt. There's something about him I don't like. I won't trust. You know, I think for me, what I always think about leadership, especially with governments, the last decent Prime Minister we had was Churchill. I can't think of many others that. I mean, imagine
John Major taking us to World War.
Oh yeah, imagine that. Imagine any of the Prime Ministers we've currently had. I mean, Gordon Brown would be going, oh, well, we'll have to look into our budget and have a look and see if we've got enough money to fight.
Tony Blair would have had no problem taking us to war. He'd have gone, yeah, let's go.
Like, yeah. How much money we're going to make? We're going to make money? Yeah, we'll go to war. But yeah, I mean, look at Theresa May now. She couldn't handle a fucking hot potato if it were thrown at her. So good luck with the World War.
at least with Churchill, when you look back at stuff like that, he were a man that in today's world he'd be known as quite controversial. You know, like stuff he said, like
we will fight them on the beaches.
Yeah, but he probably wasn't politically correct, but that's not what we needed. Somebody that wasn't politically correct.
Correct, yeah.
Back then,
we need Corbyn then, because he's not politically correct.
Oh God, Corbyn would be like, oh, we'll try and make friends with them, even though they're gassing people. We'll try and make friends. There's no politician in the UK where I sit back and I watch him and I go, he seems like an alright person. Every single one, no matter what party, left wing, right wing, whatever the fuck that even means.
There's only been one, in my opinion, in the last 10 years, and it's halfway been there, and that's Nick Clegg, because he didn't give a shit about what he said if it offended anyone. And
what did he do?
He was Cameron's bitch.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he promised though that students were going to get a load of stuff for free. Like student fees were going to be half price, and then he came into power and then he doubled them.
Mm.
Well, he didn't double them. The Conservatives did, because he didn't come in power. He came in part power. But he did
with his part. He could have said, "Look, I need to kind of stick near this figure." And to go and double the fees were like fucking
I did
joke.
I did hear part of a radio show on Radio 1 a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about students' fees, students' loans and stuff like that, because it was kind of a knock-on effect of the decision of no free school dinners, right? So they were interviewing university students about their student loans and stuff, and they didn't interview many of them, but pretty much the same opinion was coming across, which is, I can imagine people in the near future, thinking, I don't want to go to university, because if I do, by the time that I leave, I'm £30,000 to £50,000 in debt.
Yeah. Now their view on it is, you're not in debt until you are earning enough money to pay the debt back.
Which then is an incentive to never earn more money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that university students should necessarily get it free. I don't know enough about it. I never went to university, never even looked. I know it used to be free, but at the same time, I mean, okay, politicians get paid to do, or high-ranking politicians get paid to do their job, but also then get pretty much paid for every penny they spend, right? So there are many ways that this country could not spend money on stuff it doesn't have to put it into the right areas. Things like the NHS, things like schooling.
Public transport in the north is fucking awful. I mean, if you're an old age pensioner living in Skipton, costs you about, just get on a bus and go to the next town, looking at about, even with an old age pensioner's pass, looking at about £6 just to go from one village to the next.
Yeah. I thought a old age pensioners got a free pass.
Yeah, but they're on like first buses. But up in Skipton, there's no first buses. They're all privatised buses.
Yeah, so if they're private companies, they don't have to. Yeah, you can
get on train. Then that'd be all right. But I mean, there's
train's
so
not
much
cheap,
stuff
is it?
up. Yeah, exactly. There's so much stuff up north where you just like. I mean, and what I don't understand is Skipton within the north. It's more of a Labour kind of centre, but then Skipton has always been a very conservative centre. But yeah, if you go to Skipton, yeah, it's a lovely little place. But at the same time, if you live there every single day, you know, you're not just visiting. If you live there and you want to get about, and you're an old person, there's fuck all to go anywhere, and it's extortionate.
I mean, even like what I said, I mean, trains. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been on the train. I mean, going from Derby to Nottingham, which is about 30 mile, 50 30, no, I don't know. It's about a 20-25 minute drive if there's no traffic, right? On a train, probably 10 plus years ago, it was about £5 a return ticket. Now, I saw a story on Facebook in this last week where I think somebody was in. Basically, somebody had about a 150, 200 mile journey to do in the UK
to Bristol.
To Bristol, right? And it worked out. He looked at how much the train ticket was going to cost, and then he found out he'd be able to buy basically a scrap car, insure it for one day, drive there and back cheaper. Now, if that's the situation, so again, something was wrong. I think the train ticket was about £200. So he was able to buy like £100 banger and insure it for the day and drive there and back.
When me and Vicky went to Barcelona, we got off the plane. We didn't get like a shuttle bus or all like that. Went straight off the plane into the subway, which was connected to the airport. Paid for. Barcelona, if you've never been, it's not like the size of a normal city. It's fucking huge. It's like almost the size of a county.
Yeah,
huge. So imagine some size of like West Yorkshire or something like that. So we get this ticket for subway, and literally there's a station on every other block. So a bit like in America, if you imagine every 2 square blocks is a station.
Yeah.
We literally got from the airport right outside our hotel. We were there within half an hour, and it was a fair journey. And we paid for a ticket that did us all week for €16 each. So that works out about 13 quid.
Yeah.
We got
when I went to
everywhere, all over the city, for 13 quid a week. If that happened in the UK, you'd be at least a 200 quid bill, at least.
Yeah.
When I went to visit my brother in Poland, we used a lot of the trams. And the reason why we used a lot of the trams was if you wanted to go from one stop to the next, it was about 20 pence, equivalent of 20 pence. If you wanted a day ticket, it was about £1. And you could travel up and down, as many times as you want anywhere within the city for about £1. And some of the journeys, it wasn't like a small place. We were on the tram some days. We got on the tram and went off to a zoo somewhere, and we were on the tram for about a good half hour. So it was a fair few miles going from one place to another. That's half hour there, and then another half hour back. Only for £1 each.
Yeah.
And it's like, for that price, and they weren't like shitty, horrible ones. They were all proper nice trams, electric doors, and little pay meter when you go in. It gives you a little electric ticket and what have you.
But this is the thing. Government bang on about the thing is we want to make the economy stronger. Don't they realise that if they actually regained control, it'll never happen. If they regained control of the railways, just the railways, they regained control of them and brought prices down to levels you see within Europe, that actually businesses would start to boom because people could get places and actually start making money rather than.
Well, that's the thing. Commuting's a bit of a nightmare anyway. But at least if the commute is affordable, this is something that you shouldn't be spending like a quarter of
your wage traveling,
just getting to and from work. It's a little bit like. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the government now. We're going to get a little close to stuff I'm not really sure if I want to talk about. But I don't know if you know about the situation, James. But in the UK, you have to pay council tax. Now, interesting. Actually, I might bounce around a little bit here. We went to, I think I mentioned on the podcast before, we went to a Chinese for Steve's daughter's birthday meal. And as an example, I asked her, I Oh, what was the question I asked her? It was something to do
What
with...
do the banks do with your money?
Yeah, what do banks... when you get paid, what happens to your money? What do the banks do with your money? So, like, asking her... Without asking her directly, does she know anything about that you get taxed and that you've got to pay bills and stuff? And she didn't really have any idea whatsoever about what happens when you earn money. Now, that is something that schools should be teaching children, especially in secondary school, when these children are potentially going to be going out to work straight afterwards.
That's a hard piss.
I was going to say the train stopped at the station.
All aboard.
So now, James, you've just moved, so you should know that obviously in the UK you have to pay council tax. Steve, you've got your own place with your missus, and you're aware of council tax. Now, I'll be completely honest, I had absolutely zero knowledge of council tax until 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago, when I moved into my first apartment on my own. Before then, I knew nothing about it. Didn't know that it existed. Didn't know you had to pay it. Didn't know how much it was. Right?
Mainly because you're either with parents or you're renting with friends.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah. It was something I'd never come across, and was never taught at school or anything like that, and never really discussed with parents or family.
But within society, it's just assumed, you know, isn't it?
Yeah, it's assumed. Always. You know. Which I think is wrong. I mean, these are things. If the government is going to be expecting you to be paying certain things when you leave school, then your school should be teaching you about these things. But when I moved into my apartment, I was on a benefit, so my income was low, but I was had benefits and was doing part-time work. Now, my council tax bill was allowed to have council tax
Credit, is that it?
Not credit, there's another word, not deductions, support, which would reduce my council tax bill, right? Now, it reduced the bill probably, well, quite considerably. It was about £16 a month, which for me was actually still quite a lot, given the income that I had. Now, this situation that I've sort of hinted at a few times that I've got going on, turns out that the benefit was suspended about 1.5 to 2 years ago. So my income, not that you would call benefit an income, but my money coming in was instantly halved. What do you think happened to my council tax?
Doubled.
No. It didn't double, it didn't triple, it didn't quadruple, it multiplied by 6. So instead of it being £16 a month, it's nearly, well, it's about £100 a month. When the money coming in has been halved.
Yeah, so that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, because of being in obviously income has decreased, and things like the council tax and other things have gone up as well, it's left a situation where things like the council tax are unaffordable to pay. So instead of being in a situation where it's like, well, I can just scrape by at this, to, hang on a minute, now my income's halved and everyone wants more money out of me. I can imagine there's a lot of people in the situation that I've been in where all of a sudden they're screwed and there's not a lot they can do.
Yeah, well, like for example, with me, we moved in here. I was transferring all information across. And I phoned council and said like, oh well, we're moving and we've just moved into this new property and blah blah blah. I thought, oh, they'll want to know. And this woman literally went, oh well, that's something that the estate agent should sort out for you, so don't worry about it. Bye. And I'm like, so what happens if they don't?
Yeah. And
I've tried to inform you. Are you going to turn around to me and give me a bill for a fucking shitload? Because, you know what I mean? I've done my bit. I've tried to inform you that I've moved. What's going on now? It literally, like, they couldn't be asked.
Yeah. Well, I think.
But yeah, there will be arse when they want money off me, won't there?
Yeah. Well, I can't remember if I mentioned on a podcast before, but not long after I'd moved here, I had a problem with the council here. I'd phoned them up to inform them of a change of address. Right. A few months later, I get a letter, basically a threatening letter, saying you have not informed us of a change of address, and I'm like, hang on, you've just posted a letter to the address. How can I not have informed you of a change of address?
Yeah, exactly. How was this letter got here if it hasn't?
Yeah.
If you haven't been informed, you twats.
Now, interestingly, we have gone away from Formula One. So I have been thinking, how can I reconnect this to Formula One a little bit? Well, we're talking about governments, and we're talking at the moment, we've got onto the way that governments are effectively screwing the people, right, over here at the moment. One of them is by not giving children school. Right, my mother actually told me that apparently parents have to pay for milk for kids now, and I was like, hang on, what do you mean you've got to pay for milk? And
I think it's about £1.80 a week.
I mean, come on, are you telling me that that our government can't afford to say, you know what, the children are our future, let's make sure we give them the best opportunity we can?
But that's exactly the opposite of what the government is. The government is saying, you want to live in the UK, it's expensive. If you don't want to live in the UK, fuck off. That's what they're trying to say. And unfortunately, when you've got a government that's run by posh twats that don't understand what the even cost of a pint of milk is, then they've got no reality, they've got no gauge. Whereas that's what I'm saying about politics, and this is what I'm saying about F1. You need somebody in there, a bit like us. We're completely grassroots level, and we understand the tier which is bottom.
Yeah.
Once you understand that, then you understand pretty much everything. I mean, the cost of F1 of watching on Sky is extortionate. We were an advert with Martin Brundle on radio going, watch it all live on Sky Sports F1, and you don't have to pay for sports anymore. It's like, you shouldn't have to pay for sports in the first place. I'm a massive F1 fan. I'm not a huge football fan. I'm not a huge any other sort of sports fan.
Yeah.
The main reason why I like F1 is because it's inside my engine and watching a car drift at 200 mile an hour.
Oh, James, it's funny you should say that about Martin Brundle, right? Because I had Sky phone me up, offering me a deal, right? And the deal was basically this. All right, they rang me up and said, are there any channels that I would like to watch that I don't currently have?
Babe Station.
I says, I like watching Formula One. But I can't afford your Sky package, your Sky Sports package. I went, oh right, well, we can do the Formula One with the Sky Sports package for £25 a month at the moment. I says, that's just not affordable. All right, well, we can do an introductory offer for the first 6 months at £15 a month.
Yeah, but then that's £16 a month, you fucked.
Right, for the first 6 months, right, yeah. But now you're saying Martin Brundle was on an advert saying you can have Sky F1 without the other channels. Why wasn't that offered to me?
Yeah,
exactly. Because it's a bit like Domino's. If you phone up and say I want a $5.99 medium pizza, they'll offer you it because they know that you know the deal. But yet they won't go out of the way to mention it to you.
Now they're supposed to, and I know that for a fact because I used to be a manager at Domino's. When you place an order at Domino's Pizza, what the person on the phone is supposed to do is look at the order you've placed and see if they can offer it you cheaper on one of their other deals. Yeah. They're supposed to do that, but if they're busy, they won't.
Yeah,
I know that for a fact.
I mean, I had it with Virgin, and I am going to get my link to Formula One, politics of Formula One in a moment. But I had it with Virgin today. I mean, I've been trying to reduce my my Virgin bill. That sounds so wrong.
You know what? You just said that. I was at work the other day thinking, you know the old. I don't know if you've seen. We'll get back to this. What you're on about? Have you seen the joke with Billy Connolly banging on about suicide bombing terrorists?
Why would you want 50 virgins?
Why would you want virgins? I was thinking, why exactly would you want? What sort of terrorist organisation turns around to a bloke and goes, I tell you what, if you kill yourself, you're going to get 50 virgins? Who? At what point does their brain go, "Oh, that's a good idea"?
Yeah.
But surely there's going to be some people that go, "That's fucking bollocks, that is."
Yeah, exactly. And why aren't they blowing up the terrorists going, "You nut, you nutters"? But yeah, back to your Virgin.
Yeah,
bill.
so to Virgin, I've been trying to get my Virgin bill reduced for over a year, right? And
She charges you too much, yeah?
She does, yeah, she does. She drinks all my milk.
That still sounds.
It does, doesn't it? Fucking hell, yeah. Yeah, so I've been trying to get my bill reduced for a couple of years now, over a year and a half. And the most I've been able to get it reduced at any one time is a couple of quid. Right. So the last 2 days I've been looking to try and get it reduced, and there isn't really any other internet providers in my area that can offer an internet that'll do what I need it to do. So I go on the Virgin Media website, and they're offering a new deal, which is always the way. New deals for new customers are better than current deals, and their new deal is an internet only package, right, for about £28-29 a month. And I'm like, well, that's what I want. I literally do not watch TV. My telephone has never been plugged in. I don't need them. I only want the internet. So I phone them up and say, right, look, I need to get my bill reduced. I'm willing to get rid of everything possible. All I want is the internet, and it needs to have a semi-decent upload speed. And he says, well, you're actually on the cheapest offer that we can do you at the moment. I says, well, in that case, I might as well just cancel it and then reset up with your new deal. He says, oh, you wouldn't be able to do that because when you cancel, you'd have to wait a certain period of time before you could reapply on a new deal, by which time that deal would have ended. And I'm thinking, well, that's fucking bullshit. He says,
just thought.
Hang on a sec. And he says, well, you're on the internet you're on at the moment is like 150 megabyte internet. We can go up to 200 for an extra £5. And I says, I don't want to increase my bill. I need to reduce my bill. He says, well, you could go down to 100 megabyte, and that'd reduce it by £5. And I says, it's not enough. I say, in all honesty, it's not enough. And then,
so what were the price that they were offering for 100 meg for you?
Well, it's £39.
So a full tenner dearer than the new customer offer.
Yep. And I'm like, it's not enough. It's not enough. And he took a second and he says, well, I'll tell you what I can do. And where this came from, I have no idea. He says, well, what I can do, I can apply a £50 credit. So, we can put you on the 100 megabyte. I can give you a £50 credit. So your next bill will be free, and then your bill after that will only be £15, and your bills after that will be £30 a month. And I just went, okay.
Yeah.
You've just knocked £15 off my bills, and my next one's free, and the one after that is only 15 quid. Why have I not been able to get this for the last year and a half?
What happens though, Dave, if you were to ring them up and say, I need to cancel my subscription with you, my internet with you, because I'm moving house and I need it switching off on this date.
Like
All right. But then you phone them back up and say, hello, my name is James Shaw. I'm moving into such and such address on such and such date. I need to be connected to the internet. And then when they ask you for your details, your bank details, you give them your own bank details, you pay the bill.
You've lost me.
Telling you somebody else. Put it under a different name. Yeah, put it under a different name.
Put it under your mum's name. Say, oh, my mum's moving into this address and her name's this. And then give your mum your bank details, and then technically the letter will come with your mum's name on it, but it's going through your account.
Yeah, it could come with Joe Bloggs' name on it.
Yeah.
But you pay the bill.
Because there's always ways around these companies' fucking little shifty ideas on how to fuck you over. But like, I'm surprised you had such a good experience with Virgin customer service.
It's because it was the Scottish guy.
Yeah, I cancelled. I had Mr. Iqbal, Mr. Ahmed.
You missed this, James. All right, hang on, I'm going to butt in on James again, but this is funny, right? Dave was telling me about this earlier, and he says, because I spoke to a Scottish guy, he understood me. And I says, well, are you sure he wasn't on holiday in India?
But yeah, they were literally pushed from pillar to post, and in end, because I was just going to get it transferred, I was just going to get the entire package transferred to this address. And because they pissed me around so much, I said, you know what, I'm just going to cancel, I'm going to go with Sky, which tonight has shown itself that it's pretty shit compared to Virgin. But it's only been a day, and it did say that speed is there. So,
to be fair to Sky, I'm with Sky, and after day one, not had an issue. Now I've said that, it'll probably fuck me up for my online race tomorrow.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm not kidding. The Virgin customer service, it wasn't until I mentioned the word I'm going to
leave,
cancel,
that
they literally went out of their way to fuck me off. To a point where I was halfway through cancelling, I got one letter going, sorry to hear you're cancelling, and then the next day I got a letter going, we will be transferring you to this address on this date. I'm like, it's literally like the company is not. It's like the Virgin customer service company is like the worst company to deal with, and it's like the products that they provide. And I've got to say, well, we had internet at the other house. It was shit hot. I could upload something like that, but their phone customer service was absolutely shite. I says, right, so I says, oh well, is there any like compensation? She really like put me off, and I'm really pissed because you were getting 50 quid out of me a month with TV and internet. Now you're going to be getting naught out of me. I says, before I cancel, there's nothing you can do to basically entice me to continue being your customer.
Did you ask her to show her your boobs? Show you her
No.
boobs?
We're a weird bloke.
Oh, right.
And he literally went to me down the phone. He went, no. I went, all right then. Right, I'm cancelled. Bye. And just put the phone down on him. But it's just one of the things where when you get to a point where customers that are paying 50 quid a month to you are completely disposable, why would you want to be with them? The only reason you want to be with them is because they provide a good service. But in terms of customer service, at our place, if we make a mistake, you'll get like a £50 voucher and like a massive box full of, you know, like a hamper or something like that. In order to say, look, we're really sorry. We go out of our way to make sure that customers are happy. I couldn't believe that. I literally like, so you're telling, I spoke to the final customer service person, says, so right now we've gone from 2 days ago me being completely happy, paying 50 quid a month, getting a decent service, and now we're at, I'm going to cancel. You're not going to do anything about it, and you're going to lose 50 quid a month, and you're not going to do anything in order to basically apologise for the service I've had, because I've literally gone through, it must have been about 20 different members of staff having to give my details over and explain myself over and over and over, and it just wound me up. I said, so you're not prepared to do anything to make me a happy customer and to stay with me? Straight out of the horse's mouth, she said, no.
Yeah.
I went, okay then. And I just thought, you know what, I'm not you know, gonna get down and start going, oh please. I just thought, you know what, if you're not bothered, I'm not bothered.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, with Virgin, this was more so a few years ago. Whenever I phoned up their customer services, if it was anyone that was not from the UK, once they'd answered, I would just say, it's alright, don't worry about it, and I'd hang up. I'd phone back, and I'd keep doing it until I heard that Scottish accent. Now, I'm guessing that Virgin have got a base in Scotland, right? Because they must have a customer service department there, and every single time I've got through to at least a Scottish person, I've ended up satisfied. That sounds, oh God, innuendo bingo
Ray
today.
Sent me a message. Ray sent me a message.
Flashlight in the post.
Yeah. Right, Ray says it wasn't him that answered the call in Scotland.
Yeah.
He's not the nice Scottish guy apparently. So it means probably he's not a nice Scottish guy. Yeah. But
he didn't satisfy you, Dave.
No.
James, he wants to know where you work so you can ring up and complain to Amstrad.
But yeah, literally, I mean, I would actively do that though. If it wasn't a Scottish accent, I'd hang up the phone. Because anyone other than the Scottish accent was a frustrating series of, I'll pop you on hold, or I don't know what you mean, or like just no help whatsoever. Get through pretty much like that. Get through to the Scottish person, and they're like, all right, well, I'm not going to do the accent, but they're like, all right, mate, yeah, no worries, don't worry about it, I'll sort it out for you.
All right, Dave, you got a problem? I'll sort your internet right out.
Thank you very much. There you go. See, done. Customer service. And who said the Scottish were nasty bastards?
Hello.
I did hear once that there was a road sign as you approach Scotland that says "No salad for 200 miles."
Yeah, Ray's not going to want to talk to us for another week.
Okay.
It's a bit of an in joke with Ray though about the evil Scotsman.
Okay, do you want to hear my interesting link? Or it might not be an interesting link, but my link from dodgy fucking politicians to Formula 1.
No.
Alright.
I do.
Go on.
Well, it's full of them, isn't it? I mean...
Well, the link I was going to use...
politics.
Well, the thing is, it's not necessarily dodgy politics in Formula 1. Right? Obviously, governments rule their countries however they see fit, and they tend quite often to fuck over their population while they do it. Some kill and murder much of their population, and some assassinate people in other countries.
James.
It's out the other night.
That definitely wasn't a salad.
That was Steve, that.
Steve, you might want to check, see if that's actual turd or whether it's blood.
It's all over my iPad.
Now, in sports, should sports avoid holding their sport in countries where the politicians are doing dastardly deeds, i.e. Russia assassinating people in other countries? Or, for example, in Baku, where in this last week, reports have come out about how the situation of the people in the surrounding areas of the town are basically living in slums worse than Brazil.
Well,
should Formula 1 avoid them?
Everywhere's dodgy. I mean, look at Britain. It's like back in time at IRA existing. I mean, some of the British police over there were like absolute thugs. But we wouldn't have said, "Oh, well, we're not having a British Grand Prix." And Americans, they nuked Japan. We never said, "Well, we won't come to America because you nuked Japan." Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. We don't say, "Oh, well, because you attacked Pearl Harbor, we're not coming to you." I think everywhere is just fucked, so just get on with it. That's what I think, anyway.
Sport, though, is supposed to bring countries and people together. But I don't think the World Cup should be held in Russia.
I don't understand why in this day and age everywhere is still so segregated. I mean, I understand fucking past before internet. I mean, with internet and travel being so easy as it is, I mean, the reason why wars were mainly because of like huge tribes which became countries which thought, "Oh, I'll tell you what, we can take over the world." Whereas in this day and age, you can't do anything, you can't scratch your ass without everybody knowing about it on the internet. So I don't understand how in this day and age, well, we can't just get on, but you're never going to get everybody to get on. So.
All right, question for you then, James. Did you vote for Brexit?
No, I think we're going to stay in, but now we're out. I'm a bit like, oh, well, we're out, or I might get them.
Because, in a way, by coming out of Europe, that's like saying, you know, we want to be separated from the rest of the world, in a way. And obviously we want to be in control of our borders and stop people from coming in. Whereas you've just said about everywhere should be free travel.
Well,
no, I didn't mean everywhere should be free travel. I just mean that, like, in terms of the way you can just be a Japanese man, jump on a plane and be in America, you know, within a few hours. Whereas, like, obviously 100 years ago, you'd have to cycle a bike quite fast to get there, and it'd take years.
You might sink.
But I think the main point I'm getting to is that if you want to live in the UK, I'm really sorry, but I think the only thing that I think in terms of the UK and its population size is it's too populated. It should be and this should be worldwide, it should be per square mile, there should be only so many humans within that square mile. And if you looked at the UK, maybe 50 years ago we could have coped with Brexit, but now we're pulling out and we're at a point where we've got to import all this food, so good luck. And I think the people that did vote to leave, no offence, but they're all old dodders who were around at end of Second World War. They were like, oh, I liked it back then, we didn't have to put up with this foreign shit, which is fair enough, but they're going to be dead within 5 years, so cheers.
You calling me an old dodder that's going to be dead in 5 years?
You bastard. No. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, you know, it can't get much worse than what it has been, so let's see what happens.
Well, no, it's not interestingly, but I actually haven't voted on anything for years. I think I've voted once.
Don't say that, because when you don't vote, you could get fined up to £1,000.
Fuck off.
Honestly.
They'll be after you. Yeah.
Well,
honestly,
they're after me for a
police have been listening to our podcast. I mean, been wanting to keep up to date with F1
the thing is,
the
thing is, right, I haven't voted. I've voted once since I've been 18. I'm 38.
That's 20 grand you owe them, Dave.
Well, they can just double what I already owe them. But the thing is, right, if someone asks me, okay, well, why haven't you voted? Well, there has not been any, right? There's not been anyone I feel like I could have voted for. There's nobody that makes me think, yeah, I'm going to back you. Actually, no. You know what? If there was anyone that I would have voted for in the last 20 years, it would have been Barack Obama. Right?
Yeah, he's the only politician,
yeah.
I'd say, in the last 20 years that's come across as quite normal.
Yeah. Other than that, there's been no one. And for me, I mean, I saw a friend...
What's wrong with Putin?
I'm not even going to go there. It's all right having my government want an extra 20 grand off me, but having Putin want to assassinate me is a different story. Like our government would believe that story.
Yeah, at least with our government, it's run by idiots, so you can probably pay them back over the next 1,000 years.
Yeah. Well, I saw a post of a friend of ours on Facebook, right, which basically I thought it was a very interesting point that he made, and the point was basically, I don't want to vote for this party, but I don't want to vote, the party that I do want to vote for, I don't want to vote for their person in my area, because I don't trust that person in my area. Yeah. Which leaves me then, the only option is, or my options are, to vote for the party that I don't want to be in control, or vote for the person that I don't want to be in control. And that's not...
or you get like some outsiders that are not worth voting for because they're not going to get in anyway.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean. What I don't understand is, you know, like at least in America, anybody can be president. I don't understand why in the UK anybody can't be prime minister. Why not do that?
Well,
and then you get rid of all these toffs and people that have been born with a gold spoon in their mouth.
Actually, thinking about it, you know what? There is one person that I would potentially possibly vote for.
Jeremy Clarkson.
No.
Michelle Keegan.
No.
Rachel Riley.
I was going to say no to everyone, but I would vote for her. No, I was actually going to say Boris Johnson. I would vote for. And should I tell you why? Because he's fucking mental. And that slightly, he's kind of like, he went to one of the posh schools, but you know what? He fucking slapped everybody arses, pulled everybody's pants down and got hammered while he was doing. He comes across as, okay, a bit of a knobhead, but at the same time, he's cleverer than what a lot of people think. And he actually does have a... that was a long time being sat on that toilet, James.
Yeah, bye, Mr. Brown.
Yeah. But he also does give that sense of potentially understanding the little people. But not only that, when Lee Rigby was killed, right? Boris Johnson was the one that attended, and when I saw him turn up, I actually thought, "Fuck, you don't want him there." But actually, the way he held himself. In that situation, I thought was absolutely spot on.
Why? How were you holding it?
2 hands.
I knew you was going to go down that route, you dirty bastards. But no, him I would vote for. But the annoying thing is, in this country, if you don't know the right people, didn't go to the right school, don't know the right people, you ain't getting close. And that means we end up with people like Theresa May. And there's been a photograph going around on Facebook a lot this week. And it's a Photoshop picture of Pornhub with a picture of Theresa May at her desk with a video title of "Woman Fucks Whole Country in One Day."
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Not the video, the picture.
Yeah. But
have you seen that? I mean, I just don't understand how. I understand how Twitter works, but on the other hand, I don't understand how Twitter works. How stories are stories, and you're like, of all the problems in the world today, this is the news feed I'm getting from. This is the news feed I'm getting from Twitter.
Yeah.
Straight away, I goes on Twitter when my internet started working, and straight away it shows a picture of what's her name, fat ass, not JLo. Goes out with Kanye West, Kim Kardashian.
Mm.
A picture of her covered in like this
cream,
some sort of like it looked like that, but it was like some sort of like moulding clay stuff.
Right.
And straight away the headline was Kim Kardashian gets her body cast for a new perfume bottle. I just thought, you know, when they bang on about like social media and what people like, and it'll like target what you like. I understand that there's like some dodgy
What have you
stuff,
been searching?
but I never have ever typed in the words Kim Kardashian. I just don't.
What about
understand
fat
why.
asses?
No. I just don't understand.
What about
why is it pop that as my main news feed? You know, not like.
I know,
terrorist
because
blowing
she's done a
up
sex tape. She's done a sex tape. You must have typed in sex tapes. Celebrity sex tape.
That is possible, actually. The amount of filthy pictures you've sent me in the past, or me and James in the past.
It's all these fake accounts that keep following me. It's not me. Hang on, who else? Somebody else just followed me. Hang on, Tamsky. Let's see who she is.
Her name's Chelsea. Probably Chelsea FC.
Hang on, it's loading. So yeah, I might get in contact with that. Oh no, it's a lad who likes esports by the look of it, so it is a real person. But yeah, I might get in touch with a company called Rolex Racing, sponsors of BTCC driver Jake Hill.
Oh, let's see. Let's Google that, shall we?
See if that's real.
How's it?
ROLEC. ROLEC.
That is
Racing.
a real team. Yeah.
Is it real?
Yeah.
Yep, Rolex Electrical and Mechanical Services. Yep, they are.
So they've just followed me this afternoon, so that's decent. I might get in touch.
Where do they follow you to?
Just Keithley.
Not far.
Looks like he's driving. Looks like a Volkswagen.
Yeah,
VW.
Yeah.
Yeah, VW Passat maybe. Yeah, so yeah, you have to follow him back.
I'll try and plug that.
There you go. You never know. Maybe a future sponsor for you until they've heard this podcast.
Wow. Yeah, well, the more the better.
I've got something to gain away. We've got away from Formula 1. It is part of one of the features of our podcast is that we will talk about pretty much anything and everything at times. And one of the things that we talked about or showed on a recent podcast is how a man does. And some of those videos we've put on the YouTube channel. And one of the most recent ones, other than how a man slides down a road and hurts his arse, the other most recent one was Steve's how a man keeps his children entertained. And we showed that video on one of the recent podcasts. And James, I'm guessing you remember the video? Showing the girls playing Sims.
Oh yeah.
And
I said that I was going to give them instructions, but then that sounded wrong.
That is true. Do you remember what happened straight after? Because obviously, unfortunately, in this Sims game, the girls decided they wanted their characters to have a baby, so they needed to woohoo in a bush, and they eventually the woman of the couple got pregnant. But then what happened to the man, James?
He keeled over, and the solution was let's build a kitchen.
Okay, so so the guy died, and as James said, the solution was to build a kitchen. So James, would you be interested to see what happened next?
Yeah, let's go on. Let's have a look.
Okay. Well, I'm going to show this video. While this video is on, the listeners aren't going to be able to hear us. It's not a long video, but if you guys can let me know when it's when you've got it ready to play.
On Sims, can you do a bit like Grand Theft Auto and just go out and get a machete and go after people?
I don't know. I don't think so, because it's age rated.
Fair
I've got right back into Craig Ferguson, and some of these videos are just fucking priceless. That's all.
I'm ready whenever.
It's just loading now.
So this video is going to be how a man educates his, entertains and educates his children, and what happened next after the guy died and the girl said they were going to build a kitchen.
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, enjoy folks in 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, it's Steve again from illtellyouwhat.TV, and I've come for the second episode of what my girls get up to, or how they keep themselves entertained. We saw them previously on Sims 4, where he died, she had a baby, Grim Reaper came, took the adult away. We're waiting for them to put a door in between the kitchen, so not the kitchen, between the bathroom and the bedroom, because they don't have a kitchen, they've got to build a kitchen. So let's get an update and see how they're getting on. So here we are, we're back at Sims 4, they've got the house. But girls, who's the bloke in the bottom of the screen?
The dad. The dad is alive.
The dad is alive again? How come he's alive again?
We didn't say that. We don't even have a baby.
Say again?
We don't have a baby.
You don't have a baby?
No. We forgot to save it.
You forgot to say it. Well, at least he's alive. But
Yeah.
what about the baby?
We had to make a kitchen before we had the baby. Yeah.
So, so does that mean you got to do woohoos again?
Wait.
You got to do woohoos again?
Yeah. But I'm not going to do that yet.
So
Yeah, not that yet.
you've got no baby. She's not pregnant, but at least he's alive.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we can
All right.
start
So are you going to learn from your mistakes?
Yes.
So what is your plan then now?
Right now I'm getting a kitchen. Yes.
You're building a kitchen.
Yes.
Okay. Are you going to feed him this time?
Yes.
Are you going to keep him alive?
Yes.
Are you going to build a kitchen before you have a baby?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll let you build your kitchen.
Okay.
And I'll come back up in a bit to see how you're getting on. Are you going to put a door in though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Between the bathroom and the bedroom?
If we still have some more money, because look, these are all. Oh, we don't even have enough money.
No, my.
Well, why don't you try and get them both to have a job and then you earn money?
How
We
do you
don't
do
know how to
that?
get jobs.
Walk around the streets and out and talk to people and you might get offered a job. Or walking, I don't know, you have to go find out what you have to do. That's part of the game, isn't it, finding out?
You could just search up on YouTube.
You could research it on YouTube to find out how to get a job. But I'll come back in a bit, okay? See how you're getting on.
Okay.
So I've just been shouted up again. And what's happened, girls?
Well, we sent the dad to work.
Oh, you got him a job?
Yeah.
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 He's a secret spy. Secret
Okay. Just turn it around a bit so I can see a bit more.
agent.
So, why is he back again?
Because the mum's died.
She didn't have long to survive because of the kitchen. But we needed more money.
We were
So
so
she's
close.
dead. She's dead now, but she's not had a baby now.
We have to get,
How's the man gonna have a baby?
another girl.
You have to find another girl.
And make one.
And we could have saved it because the baby girl was.
You
dead.
could go back to where you last. If you turn it off and back on again now, they'll both be back alive again, won't they?
I don't want them to. But then I had to get them jobs again.
Yeah, but at least she won't be dead.
Yeah, we better do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me know how you get on, and R.I.P. the woman.
Oh,
See you later.
Oh, okay.
I hate the woman.
And we're back.
I am fascinated by your daughters, and that sounds wrong, but
Little,
I
little pair of murderers, really.
Yeah. What I don't understand is, you know, like when you get home from work, do they kind of act like they do with Sims, where I'm hungry, what do I do, Dad? And then you're like, do you have to explain everything to them, like put food in the oven?
Well, I actually got Anna today to help me do tea. We did pasta, and now to do the pasta, so she put the water in the pan, turned the pan on, put the pasta in the pan. So she did everything to do the pasta.
But let me get this straight, you haven't advised them to walk the streets asking for work, have you?
Well, can I just say, the first job I ever had was going from door to door around the shops in town saying, have you got any... saying, have you got any jobs? And that's how I got my first job, by just walking in a shop and saying, have you got any jobs?
Oh, brilliant. Oh, man.
I just love the way that it was like, oh no, we're not saved the game, right, we'll start. Okay, we'll build a kitchen now. So they listen to you, James. They listen to you. We'll build a kitchen. And then straight away, bang, the woman's dead.
She died even before they got a chance to build the kitchen. Alright, but do you know what the funny thing is, right, James? About 2 hours later, I go back up to check on them because they've been pretty quiet. And there's no woman, there's no man, there's no house. The house isn't the same. It's like, what have you been doing? Oh, we started again. So, 2 days worth of playing on it, just scrapped to start again.
Go on.
No, that's all right, carry on.
No, you're right, go on.
I think that they've realised it's not just as easy as, oh, we'll make them walk over here, we'll make them walk over there, and they've got to feed them, wash them, clothe them, get them jobs, pay bills. Actually, to be fair, one of them did say today, we've got the electricity's been turned off. We've got to pay the electricity. How do we pay it? I says, with your money. If we haven't got any money, you can't pay for electricity then. But we need the electricity to be on. So you can't. You need to pay for it. So they are learning life skills in a way. They're learning that they have to have a job to pay. You know, they're learning the value of money through it.
Admittedly, though, part of the video, the video did go on for about another 12 minutes, but I did cut it short, just for the comedy factor. Steve mentioned that they restarted, went into a new house, and it was a single dad with a baby.
A single dad with a toddler.
With a toddler in a really nice house. Had bedroom, living room, kitchen. Every room was connected. The baby nearly did fall down the stairs and in the pool a few times. But they wanted to redesign part of the house. So they clicked on a part of the house and then clicked demolish and then wondered why the whole house had disappeared.
So the man and the daughter were just stood there in their house.
But James did say something. Go on.
It reminds me of a game that I used to love playing called Stronghold Crusader. And basically, it were a bit like Sims, only it's more like, obviously, you build a castle and then you've got to build an economy. And rather than looking after a family, you're looking after loads of families. And it's a bit like, basically...
Like SimCity.
Yeah, pretty much. But the best thing about it were you had like voices of the townspeople. So if you increase the taxes, you just randomly hear through your earphones like some peasant going, "Oh, I can't afford to live this 1 month." And then like, but I just love the voice acting on it. I think the best one were if you say 0 taxes. There'd be like some bloke come over and go, "You are spoiling us, my lord." And like just really odd voices that they did. I
can imagine that being the perfect job for you, voiceover guy.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. But,
I actually did. Yeah. Oh, that's reminded me. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was going to say, that has reminded me, I was doing a job search a week ago, and I was like trying to find certain types of jobs. So I decided to search for like a voiceover person, and nothing was coming up. But then I did find, I found a job advert. I wonder if I've still got I bookmarked it. I wonder if I've still got it. Just bear with me a sec, because when I saw it, go
on. The one thing I have noticed is the government. I don't know if you've seen with the PPI adverts. They've got Arnold Schwarzenegger's like dubbed over voice, but it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think it's a really poor Arnold Schwarzenegger like voice.
Actor.
Yeah, MI6. This is looking good.
Well, the thing is, right? This is on a normal job site web page, right? And it said was intelligence officer, and I thought, well, yeah, that's not me. But I'll just have a look at this, and then I start reading it, and it goes secret intelligence service, and I think, yeah, right. It goes intelligence is at the heart of what MI6 does, and I'm thinking, okay, why is the MI6 advertising on jobforus.co.uk? So I'm thinking this has got to be a piss take. So I keep
this will be a Russian website going now. We'll set up his own.
Possibly
think they're working for MI6,
but they're actually working for us. Yeah. So, but I thought I'll keep on reading through it, and so I did. And your career will likely encompass all of these. Oh, okay. All of these roles, because it says these are fascinating and unique roles, whether working with government departments to identify the intelligence requirements, overseeing a targeting effort to develop an operation to gather the intelligence, or meeting the agents overseas with access to the intelligence, or reporting the intelligence back to senior government ministers. You will be at the forefront of keeping this country safe and secure. Jobforus.co.uk. So, and I think, okay. And then it says, in your career you will also have the opportunity to work overseas, receiving language training where appropriate. So I'll continue reading. I keep reading, I'm thinking this is fucking ridiculous. And then it goes, the ideal candidate is probably not the obvious candidate.
I thought you were saying not you.
Well, and then it goes, the sort of qualities we are looking for are real evidence of achievement, both in academic setting and supplemented with work-life experiences. I'm thinking, yeah, that's me fucked. a sharp intellect, an analytical capability with an ability to link disparate data in order to draw conclusions. I don't even understand that fucking sentence, so it ain't me. Sound judgment, that ain't me. And the capability to operate with great levels of autonomy. Oh, they're going to make me a robot. Sweet. A drive to acquire knowledge and an ability to absorb new learning across a diverse range of subjects. I don't want to become absorbent, thank you very much. Exceptional interpersonal skills, fuck off you cunt, and emotional intelligence, that ain't me. The ability to understand, interact and connect with a diverse range of people is central to what we do and defines a good officer. Yeah,
that sounds real.
The thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
I wouldn't be.
Although I can't imagine James Bond applying through an internet ad.
Yeah, exactly. I think as well when I went to that place to pick up the dog, I think it were. They mentioned I went to them golf ball kind of type thing. Yeah. She was the weirdest person I don't think I've ever met in my life. Just so much of an oddball. Just like, but then when you think about what they actually have to do as a job, you understand that there is like people like that out there that get paid to be like that. Yeah. Like their training is to be like emotion cut off completely. But then you kind of think, like, how do they cope outside? If they got sacked or dismissed, how would they cope then in everyday life? Because nobody'd want to know, because she just came across as really rude. But that's just because that's my point of view of a person within MI6.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, innit? The intelligence agencies don't necessarily mean nice, sweet people, but there we go.
Listen, I think I watched a documentary about, I think it was like it was called something like the real life James Bond, like if he really existed and shit. And then it said something like, oh, if you're not good at lying, then you're no good to us. It was basically like saying everybody that works here is shit hot at lying.
Yeah.
But
anyone from the government could do it then.
Yeah. Theresa May, Secret Service.
Right, okay. We're going to be bringing this podcast to an end very soon. Probably gone a little longer than Steve was intending.
Yeah, but, sorry, Steve.
It's
worries.
Not your fault.
It is all that. Hello.
I do still have a prediction to make.
You do.
So have you got any ideas of a prediction I should try and do?
You will never have kids.
Oh, cheers.
Oh, you mean to do with Formula One?
Yes.
Right.
I mean, that was straight to that. To be fair, though, I don't want them. No offence to kids, but
it might be one prediction I get right.
Yeah, you should have said I won't have kids with Hamilton. You definitely would have got that right. If I meet a woman now who's called Hamilton, I'll be shocked. So, a prediction. I did think of one, and that is James has said that he reckons there'll be a castle red flag, right? And I was thinking the corner that you would call the penultimate corner, top of the hill, left-hander. Yeah. I could make a prediction on how many cars will crash into that wall on the outside during the race.
None.
Well, it might have been on. I don't think it will be, but
well, when you say the penultimate corner, the one that Webber crashed into, was it Webber?
Webber and Massa.
Yeah. That particular wall. Now that is an interesting corner. I thought you meant the corner after.
No.
But yes. Okay. Go on then. Give us a number.
342. No.
Locked in.
2. I think 2.
Could be more.
It could be, but that's what I'm going to go with. So
the corner on the exit wall, yeah?
Yep.
The exit wall.
What we would call the penultimate corner crashes.
Yeah. Okay.
and I'll go for 2 there. Right, is there anything else that you two want to mention, talk about before we skedaddle?
Not that I can think of. I think we're all good, aren't we? We're all kept up to date with F1. There's no news stories that I think we need to really cover that we haven't already.
Well, there was one, possibly, and that was that the rumour mill is going that this will be Alonso's last year in Formula 1.
Who takes his seat? Not Lando. Oh, I suppose Lando Norris.
I think
until McLaren are back on the podium on a regular basis, there's no way they're going to entice somebody with the quality of Alonso back.
Like, when you look at it, he's not going to go to Mercedes, he's not going to go to Red Bull, and he won't go back to Ferrari. If he knows he can't do it next season at McLaren, he will leave Formula 1. He'll be in World Endurance cars or IndyCar or both.
Yeah. I don't think it'd be a bad move for him to make. I mean, the reception he seemed to get over in America was
phenomenal.
Was what, Steve? Phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, it'd be a shame to see him go, but at the same time, I think it'd be the right move for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, right, okay. In that case, then time to bring this podcast to an end. Thank you very much for listening, folks, and apologies once again that we weren't on a Tuesday. We should hopefully be back next Tuesday, but I will just say there's a slim chance that we may have difficulties on that one, but hopefully we'll be up and running on Tuesday, now that James's internet is back. It all depends on what happens on my side of things, so hopefully though we will back to talk about what happens at the Baku Grand Prix this weekend, although Steve won't have seen it because he'll be at the BTCC instead. I'm
coming straight back from BTCC to watch the Grand Prix. Straight after watching racing all day, I'll be watching racing all day. Yeah. All evening, all night, whatever. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, guys, I think that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Take care.
Thanks for listening.
Catch you all in a bit.
Yep.
See you later.
See you all soon.
Blah 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 blah.